Welcome in, San Diego. Happy Wednesday to you. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby. What's so funny, dude?
I turned on the camera right as you were like doing this
Mid
big yawn
mid
and
yawn. Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah. Welcome
Happens.
in, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Padres get on the board last night. 1-0 victory. Good baseball game. 7 hits combined between the two teams. 1 run combined between the two teams. And the Padres walk away with a nice victory. Saw some magnificent plays in the outfield. It's not often that you see 2 robberies in the same game, but that is what Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. were on last night as Jackson brought back a 2-run shot off the bat of Corbin Carroll, and Josh Naylor had his homer yanked away late that would have tied it at the time by Fernando Tatis Jr. and the Padres get the win. Unfortunately, as well as Nick Pivetta pitched, he did not factor in the decision. Neither did Merrill Kelly, who also pitched well. Bullpen, fantastic. Once again, I mean, everybody, frankly, was fantastic. No runs, another shutout for the Pods, and they even a series at 1, 4-game set. So we got 2 more today, tomorrow, both night games. Tonight is the very anticipated City Connect Straw Hat night.
Yes.
So if you have a ticket, be one of the first 40 thou wow in here because
wow.
if you can do it, you have one of those nice hats.
Yeah, I think, those hats are pretty good. And I love the pictures of everyone in the stadium wearing the straw hats because it looks like something out of a movie.
It does. It does because everybody's going to have them on tonight for sure.
Everybody's going to have them on. I think, did Merrill Kelly take the L in this one?
He did indeed.
He did take the L.
Tough L.
That is a really tough L because
Merrill Kelly was spectacular. I mean, 7 innings of work, 4 hits, 1 run, 0 walks, 4 Ks, and he did it all in 77 pitches. Like on the flip side, Pivetta was awesome too. He goes 5 2/3, 104 pitches. Now, I have to say, yesterday, in action, I won't speak for Jess. I'll speak for myself. I was on my man, home plate umpire Walsh's head last night.
I listened. You guys were both presenting that.
Yeah, we were. But, upon further review, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Really?
I think in real time it felt that way because it seemed like a lot of the calls that Pivetta could use, he wasn't getting. But the umpire scorecard is out, and he had a 93% accuracy overall. Relative accuracy is a plus 0.8. So he was better than, and then overall favor also same score, plus 0.08. Called ball accuracy, 7 of 99, and that was what made it feel like he wasn't good. That's a 93% accuracy. The average is 97. 7 of the 99 called balls were true strikes. And those balls tended to feel like they were on Pivetta's side. And then you look at the pitch count. Pivetta did have 3 walks to Merrill's none.
Yeah.
But there's where that kind of discrepancy, extra 27 pitches, makes his start look a little bit different. And he had to leave a little bit earlier because some of those calls didn't go away. And so I think and I say all this to say, when you're in a game real time, and those calls don't go away, it does start to feel like there's a bunch of them. And I think the fact that, you saw some of the displeasure from Diaz, Mike Shildt ended up getting kicked out. We weren't the only ones feeling that. That kind of was, but the overall scorecard wasn't bad. And I say all that to say, even when they are bad, or we sometimes perceive them as bad, they're not that bad ultimately. But 93% is a pretty good score, I would say.
It's definitely a good score, and I usually take my cues from the players themselves, the players and managers, And I don't know that Nick Pivetta is the right guy for me to take my cue from, because it sounds like he is just upset about every single call that he doesn't get. But that's what I love about him. The dude is like, I love pitchers that are like him, like where they are just so fired up all the time.
Yeah.
They get a big strikeout. They have a huge, they like scream off the field. It's awesome. But yeah. I did feel like it was that surprises me about the umpire scorecard. It really does. I didn't even look today, but
it did feel like it felt like it was much worse than that, right? But certainly, you know, the it's fun to kind of going through these scorecards now that I'm following this account to see like the different overall accuracy, overall consistency, and then the call ball accuracy, call strike accuracy. Not bad. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Now, either way, doesn't matter. Padres get the win today. Dylan Cease looks to try to figure some things out. He's kind of been up and down all season long. Hasn't really gotten to a groove in which he's been able to go 3-4 starts where he is, like we saw him in 2024. He hasn't got there yet. I still think there's time for him to get there, but certainly tonight would be a good time to start.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens the second time through the lineup again, because that's the thing with Dylan Cease. He's really good the first time. He's not so good the second time, and then he's excellent the third time. So yeah. I got to think that that's like something that he is talking to Ruben Niebla about and trying to figure out why he's not as good the second time around, and then he's fine the third time around. I mean, is there any sort of answer in your mind for why that could be?
I can't figure it out. Typically when it starts trending bad, it usually stays bad. It doesn't go back to brilliant after being good, bad, great. Like that's not usually how that one particular one works.
It definitely doesn't work that way. But Dylan Cease, I still think I did this on the Skraby show a couple weeks ago. Dylan Cease is still putting the Padres in a position to win games. It just doesn't work out in his favor because they're not scoring in the games that he's pitching.
Oh, sookie, the Brewers just tied this bad boy in the ninth.
I was like, what the heck just happened? They tied it up in the bottom of the ninth against
down
the Dodgers.
Yep.
Oh, look at Dave Roberts. He's really nervous now.
Runner on third. Chance to be a hero. Monasterio.
Do you know what's kind of crazy about this whole Dodgers thing is they've lost, 5 in a row now? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like it seems like they're able to lose 5 in a row and it doesn't affect them whatsoever.
What do you mean? They've lost. The Padres were 9 games out. Now they're 7. They win today, they could be 6. Right. If this goes the way that it's looked like it's going.
And so does that mean we're going to start talking about the Padres winning the division again? Because Chris and I have been
the only people who were like, we should like move away from division was Chris Ello, and he's not here to defend himself today. But we will address it if indeed it gets shorter by the time he comes back. I don't even think we'll have to address it. I think he'll bring it up himself, maybe forgetting that he said that we shouldn't even think about the division anymore, and then we'll end up having that discussion.
Well, Tony, when I was on vacation, the Padres inched closer, and so I got to say something. They could win the division.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you coming back to the bandwagon.
Yeah, he's since he's not here, I'll just bring it up. I mean, Luis Campusano still hasn't been named an all-star, so that's unfortunate as well. That's unfortunate as well. I'm just taking shots at Chris for no reason right now.
It's an all-timer right there. And, to be fair, he said when he came up with that it could backfire on him.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
He was very much aware that he was actually really stepping out there on that one.
He was, and we told, or at least I told him, don't do this, Chris. I know where you're going with this. Don't do this. But anyway, 2 outs now, bottom of the 9th.
Top of the lineup coming up. Sal Frelick.
Frelick is at the plate. We'll let you know.
Lefty on lefty. I want Tanner to give it up. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't tell you when we were in LA. He went out of his way to come find me to say hello.
He loves you.
I don't know why.
I remember during the celebration after
they
beat the
Braves, chasing me with beer.
He was.
That's the only reason why I got soaked was because he was like hunting for me to pour beer on me.
See, you should have talked to him a little bit more and got him to stay in a Padres uniform.
I'm not gonna lie. He started coming towards me, and I had flashbacks. I had a suit on because I was doing the game. I was like, "Nah, man, you can't pour nothing on me today." So I started to kind of run, and then I realized he wanted to come say hello. So, yeah. So that was I do want him to give this up though, so they can take the L.
Of course. He's at 19 pitches right now. He has struggled this year at certain points. I mean, he's still a Tanner Scott, but he hasn't been the lockdown guy that we saw last year.
Oh man. Let's get to break.
Yes, I have a question for you though. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What do you want to ask me?
I was going to ask you about those catches last night and like degree of difficulty. Okay.
So hold that. That's why I was going to break so we can kind of get to that.
Yes. Okay.
We're going to get to break. On the other side, we'll talk about, the unbelievable defense we saw, but we will also talk a little Jackson Merrill. And also, a new body became available here today, designated for assignment. Could he be a piece that the Padres entertain? We'll talk about it on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEG 00.
Runner at second, 2 outs in a scoreless game, 5th inning. And a 2-1 to Carroll, lifted in the air to center field and deep. Merrill's going back. He is at the wall, leaps up, and he made the catch. Jackson Merrill over the wall in center field to take it away from Corbin Carroll and keep this game right where it's at. What a play by Jackson Merrill as he robs a homer for the second time in the last week. Naylor hits it in the air to deep right field. Fernando's going back. He is at the wall, leaps up, and he made the catch. Oh, for the second time tonight, the Padres rob a home run. Merrill got Carroll in the 5th. And now Tatis takes a game-tying homer away from Josh Naylor in the 8th, and it is still 1-0.
You might be lucky enough to see one robbery, but 2, you were in luck last night. Jackson Merrill going well up over the wall, as did Fernando Tatis Jr. One would have been a 2-run homer. One would have been a solo shot to tie. Good defense all around for the Padres in last night's victory. Welcome in, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, taking you up to 540.
Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pre-game with Sam Levitt will start there. Let's start with the 2 catches. Square, what'd you think?
I mean, they're amazing. Jackson Merrill I read something here. Let me just read what he said. He said, I haven't been doing bleep with the bat. I have to do something with my glove. It's always like that. Whenever you can't produce on one side of the ball, how can you produce on the other side? Stay locked in always. But then he said last week was a little easier because the wall was smaller, but I've got some experience now. I kind of love those ones now. Last year when I saw those, I'd sprint really hard and get to the ball as fast as possible. I'd get to the wall, I'd have to slow up and put my hands on the wall. Now it's just like, no matter what, get there, slow down, and get ready to jump. And he also was saying that he studied Michael Harris II from the Braves because he's really good at robbing home runs as well. But that's just, another thing that shows me that Jackson Merrill just gets it, and he's going to be a great big leaguer. But 2 times in the last 2 weeks, Tony, those are some awesome catches.
What was the first one?
Phillies.
At Philly? Oh, yeah,
Kepler.
That was, you know what? That one doesn't get as much love because it's a shorter wall, and you just feel like he should be able to do that. But it was a great catch nonetheless. That prevented a 3-run shot. I love that he's studying guys.
Yeah.
And he did it without the cheat code. By the way, Trevor McGill just got himself out of that extra innings with no run coming across. So the Brewers will have a big-time opportunity to win this game here in the 10th. Struck out the side. Is that what you're telling me? Trey told me he struck out the side. I wasn't quite paying attention. But back to Jackson, I love the fact that he's studying guys like Michael Harris, who was a tremendous defender defensively. And I like that he notices some of those, small little cadences, right? Last year he'd sprint to the wall. And when you sprint to the wall, you got to have vert. Like, you got to be able to go from a standstill and get up, which is hard. Not everybody is blessed with jumping ability. His timing on that particular one didn't require him to put his foot into that wall and kind of climb it. He was able to time it, and he kind of was able to jog into his jump, which gives you a better jump. And I would say of the 2 plays, his was probably the easiest. He kind of was back there, and you're dealing with a wall that you can get up over. Whereas Toddy, he doesn't even have the option in that particular ball to put his foot into the wall. And it's a corner spot. Those are just harder defensive plays to make, but both of them very, very top tier, as they both were rewarded stars on those plays.
Oh, yes. You were hanging out of the booth, hanging the star. I enjoyed hanging
those 2. Yeah.
Now,
little outfield love.
Take me through, like, take me through Jackson's ball off the bat. You see that, you realize that it's going to be near the fence. Like, when do you decide, okay, I'm going to jump at this?
Well, you don't decide. The ball kind of decides for you that you're going to need to jump.
It's just, it amazes me because it's like perfect timing.
It is. It's all about time. Guys who do that often generally play deeper because you got to have there's that play is easiest when you have time to get to the wall. That's what made my man from Oakland's play so ridiculous. Gosh, what's his name?
I know you're talking about
Clark, Denzel Clark. When on each of the 2 plays he made, he was running full speed and timed being able to climb a wall at the same time. That is like the hardest thing to do. It's easier to be where Jackson is to kind of get your feet ready, kind of get your steps together and time to jump right. But I think, once you get to the warning track that you have about 3.5, 4 steps, depending on how big you are, or maybe even less, 3 steps, depending on how tall you are, how long your gait is. And as much as it is skills, it also is a little luck, a little timing. Everything has to line up. Like Toddy was already playing no doubles because it was Naylor. So he didn't have to travel far to get to the wall. He had time to kind of see it, line it up. Those are going to always give you your best opportunity. Anytime you can get to the wall and kind of, stutter step, line it up so you can get your jump off, those are the best ones for sure.
I think people need to remember too, Jackson Merrill's 6'3", so he's not a short guy. I bet you. Do you think he could definitely grab rim, right? If he was trying to dunk or something.
I don't know if he was trying to dunk. I mean, you either dunking or you're not dunking.
Okay, could he grab the rim from standing underneath it?
He's 6'3". He better be able to grab the rim.
Thank you. That's what my dad told me all the time. Oh, you're over 6 feet tall. You can't dunk. What a loser.
That was certainly something that when I was in high school that we used to pay close attention to. If there was a dude had 6 foot and you happen to be 6'5", 6'8", you better not get out jumped or dunked on.
Yeah,
because we're gonna talk about you like a dog from that point on.
I'm really curious. Side note about this 7'9" guy that plays for Florida, because they keep pumping him up like he's gonna be this great guy, but we'll see how he does. Anyway, that was just a side. With Fernando though, people
game time.
Yep, Brewers just win. Walk off. There you go. So Kirby Yates gives it up.
Swept.
That's kind of crazy, gotta say. Astros swept them over the weekend. Brewers
Astros swept them in their place too. They went to Milwaukee and got swept. He swept.
Oh, and then the Padres are going to know that they can get a game on the Dodgers. This is going to be fun tonight. But with Fernando, people keep asking me, why don't they put Fernando back at shortstop? I don't know why this is still a question.
Why would you put him back at shortstop?
That's what I tell them. And then last night proves why you don't put Fernando back at shortstop, because there's not a right fielder on this team that makes that catch.
I was just getting ready to say, I don't know that any other right fielder makes that play.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's incredible. It's incredible. But he doesn't need to go back to shortstop, because they say
he's not going back to shortstop.
Yeah.
We don't even need to entertain this conversation.
Okay.
Let's move on to the D.F.A. of today, which you probably will be able to get on Dave Marcus's podcast at some point in the next couple of days. D.F.A. today. Check it out. DJ LeMahieu, designated for assignment from the Yankees. Is it a name that maybe the Padres should entertain? I'm sure the conversation has already started in the Twitterverse out there.
I think it is. Just briefly looking at his stats, he's hitting 266. He hasn't
been. How many at bats he hasn't been back?
128.
He was hurt. How many?
128.
Yeah, so he's just kind of getting his year going.
But
they were kind of redundant at that position. They already had Jazz Chisholm, who was playing out of position at third base, and I think, whatever DJ is bringing defensively may not have been up to standards for the Yankees.
Now, where would he play though? Like, because the Padres already have a second baseman, they already got a third baseman. DH?
He could DH, maybe. I mean, you got options where you can give some guys off of their feet, maybe. But I mean, I don't know if that's the bat. I mean, Gavin's already kind of your left-hand dude, DH, assuming you go out and get an outfielder like you say you want to go get. So I don't know. It's just an entertaining thought to, he certainly is a bat that could help, but is there a spot for him? Is the position too much of an issue?
I don't know. He apparently this is what the reports are out of New York, that he did not take it well when they told him that he was going to be moving to the bench. So then he got DFA'd. So maybe he's like extra motivated or something to get on a team and just crush everyone.
Whatever. Like, at this point, like, you need to be motivated at this point. I mean, you have to know that you're at the back end of your career. Maybe it's not that important to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know being motivated. Like, come on, man. Like,
you're a major leaguer.
Exactly. What do you want to work a real 9 to 5?
No,
I don't think you do. That should be your motivation in itself.
I don't know that DJ LeMahieu ever has to work a day in his life again. But
that's a great point. He probably will never have to work.
No, because I've read those things about guys that play professional sports and they don't make enough money, and so then they're like, not that there's anything wrong with this, but they become an insurance salesman, and they're like, this is not as fun as playing professional baseball.
That is the majority of the dudes who play professional baseball. There's only like the 2% that make enough when they retire that it's enough to like never do anything ever again.
That's sad, actually.
I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like, I mean, most people, it's not, you know what? It's not sad. And I'll tell you why it's not sad. It's not sad because, you typically in life, you don't reach your financial like pinnacle until you're like in your 40s, 50s, maybe beyond that. Right. But you got a small window to make as much money as you possibly can.
Yep.
And then you either are going to sit on it, you either have invested it and made it, work for you, or you're going to do what most guys have to do, which is get another job to make sure that you can have something at the end when you do end up retiring.
Nate says, keep Greg Garcia out of your mouth, Matt Skraby.
Did you say
no,
Greg
I didn't
Garcia?
say him. I just said insurance. I don't know. Is he an insurance salesman? And I wasn't taking a shot at insurance people at all whatsoever. I'm saying I've seen a lot of pro athletes go into like real estate, go into insurance sales, stuff like that. Now I feel like I've disparaged every insurance salesman.
You seem to step in it like when no one is expecting it.
Oh,
too.
Nate says that Greg Garcia is his insurance agent. So there you go. Ah, great.
You over here talking about Gigi, man. You better knock it off.
I love Greg Garcia. He was great.
Me
to
too.
us.
All right, let's get to break. When we return, the Will Clark story has bubbled up. We kind of hit on it yesterday, and I specifically said, you know what? I'm gonna wait because this seems like Skraby was on it first. He's like, this seems like a hit piece.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna delve into it. More information has come out, and we'll give you the context in which this is happening. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fed.
2:35 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, taking you up to 5:40. Pre-game show. Sam Levitt does a good job for. What was that, Skraby? Anyway, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and I made a point that I wasn't going to really talk about it until there was more information, because it just felt like we were only getting like a piece of the story. And I also told you, you know what, we might as well just wait to hear from my man Will Clark, because he has no problem telling you what it is. And so, what do you know? I wasn't maybe an hour after I got off the show. Will Clark has spoken. Now, this was presented in a way yesterday from Will Fleming that kind of made it seem as though he like stood up Will Clark and like just kind of left him out dry there, like, nah, I'm not doing this. I already made my point in Boston. I'm making the same point here. That's how it, I don't know, maybe I read that.
No, that's how I read
it. That's how it came off.
Yes.
So let's hear from one of my favorites. I don't know if I got to share with you guys the story last year. Padres had their home, or Giants had their home opener last year against the Padres. Will was there. And, man, I got to talk to that man for, I don't know, an hour and a half. He loved my father, and he knew that when I was a young boy, I was a big, big fan of his, because he was constantly, like, fighting my dad for batting titles. So we have a good relationship. Here is what he had to say. It wasn't to me. It's with my man Eric Burns.
So Matt Williams and Bob Melvin want me to go out there and work with him around first base. No problem. And we weren't gonna like go through anything physical. We're just gonna walk through and say, hey, look, if throw's coming from over there, stand this way. Throw's coming from over there, stand that way. It wasn't gonna be this big thing, right? And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he did not come out early at all, period. Not at all. Matter of fact, he didn't even hit on the field, right? And everybody's like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, Will. I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it. I said, I know what happened. I said, he didn't want to go out and be at first base and be 20 feet in front of their freaking dugout with, you know, what went on in Boston. And now he's working with me at first base. He didn't want to have to go through all that through the press and the media. And so anyway, so I completely understand. But Rafael Devers, the next time I'm in San Francisco, your ass will be on the field at first base. Just letting you know that. Just from the
but if he's not going to go out, he's going to tell you.
Hey, look, even if I got to go grab you by the back of the neck and drag your ass out there, you will be at first base.
There it is.
I have to tell you guys, these are the people, not necessarily Will personally, but these are the type of personalities that I learned baseball from. Like, just no holds barred. They ain't going to try to, they have no filter. They don't know how to, like, be politically correct. They just tell you exactly how it is, right? And so Skraby and I wanted to bring this back up because he alluded to it yesterday. He said it just felt like it was said in a way to kind of only push the narrative that Devers is somehow like this guy that just refuses to do anything a team asks him to.
Yeah.
Now, hearing Will talk about it, I understood exactly what Devers was probably trying to avoid. You just finished telling a team to go pound sand. I'm not going to go play first base. And then they show up. I mean, this would have been like the very next weekend. This wouldn't even have been that long. He got traded, and within, I think, a series or two.
Yeah, it was like
they
next
were
series.
Playing Boston. And he's 20, and it's probably less than 20 feet, honestly, from the visiting dugout that your first base is at. It would have just been all kinds of weird. I don't know that he would have been able to get the kind of work that they were actually, trying to get done, being distracted that is the kind of setup. And everybody would have been looking at it. Boston's media would have been looking at it. Oh, this guy told us to go pound sand. Now look at him. He's out there in front of there working his behind off.
Oh, he booted 3 balls.
Trying to be the best first baseman possible. And that's why I didn't respond to it yesterday, because you could just tell, like, it seems like there's more to the story.
Do you want to hear let's hear the original clip from Will Fleming,
play the original
because
clip.
This is what is making its rounds around the internet. And he was on with sister station WEEI in Boston.
Trying to get big hitters, and they think he's going to win them divisions and hit a bunch. He's going to hit home runs. Of course he is. They don't yet know what is going to happen with the player. I was there the second day. Will Clark was there to work on ground balls with him at first base, and Rafi didn't show up. So that's the person that these guys have been dealing with for a long time. And again,
there you go. I mean, he clips it in a way, or they clip it in a way that
I
makes
was going to say, now, to be fair, we don't know what Will said prior to the clip. We don't know what he said after the clip. But how they cut it and put it out made it seem as though, oh, see, we told you Devers was a bad dude, man. He ain't trying to help nothing.
Did you hear the host too? They were like, oh, ha 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 ha.
Exactly. They were the host of two dudes next to him. We're kind of perpetuating the whole narrative. Now we'll say this. This is Will came out today in a tweet, an X tweet, or what are we calling it? An Xer.
I like the Z, but no, we're not.
The Z?
That.
Was it?
No, it's a tweet. It's a tweet.
Okay, tweet. Since the whole of San Francisco, I think he's trying to say the whole world, or
he says the whole of SF. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Since the whole of SF seems mad at me, I just want to clarify again. I was repeating a story that one of the great giants told me on his own pod. I'm not trying to push a narrative or opine about the trade. No one has any ill will towards Rafi. It was just time for a change here.
Backpedal.
I hear you, but that's not how it was kind of presented. I'm just saying.
It was definitely not presented in this way. And yesterday I said it was a hit piece because it sounded like a hit piece. This guy, Will Fleming, knows that he's going to get a bunch of clicks on something like this. And he could claim, oh, I was taken out of context, or, oh, I was just retelling a story. That's kind of the favorite of
everybody. Like, I was taken out of context.
Yeah, and I do understand that. I do understand being taken out of context, because sometimes we do have a clip and it's like, it says one thing, but it really doesn't mean that, because everything that's discussed around it. But Will Fleming knew that this was going to be big Boston Red Sox news. This is what the Red Sox fans want. And he was just giving them what they want, but he also, at the same time, made everybody think that Rafael Devers is a bad player.
Well, person. You know how you say people could get quoted out of context all the time. In this case, the actual offense is not giving the context behind Devers in that case. It was just kind of presenting it in a way that fit what we were talking about when he wouldn't play a position in Boston. And we felt like that kind of was a little short-sighted in how we were hearing it. And it turns out it kind of was, based off of what Will Clark kind of expressed to us. But I felt like we needed to kind of revisit that today after kind of touching our toes in the water yesterday.
I do have a question about, like, why wasn't there any communication to Will Clark that he didn't want to go out? You know, with Will Clark showing up day after day after day, like, and I'm not saying this is Devers' fault, but the Giants should have told him, hey, he's not going to go out there. You don't need to be here, or you don't need to be waiting for him.
That's a good question. I don't know. It would seem to me that everybody would kind of understand, like, let's wait till the next series to do this.
Yeah.
You know, Phillies are coming into town. It's not, we'll be here at home still. And listen, Will did say next time I'm in town. So maybe he only had those 3 days that he was going to be there.
True.
And it just wasn't the right time for it. Who knows? But I would think that somebody would have went out there and say, hey, well, he's not going to come out today. It's Boston's here. It's just he's not comfortable, or whatever the case may be.
And I also saw a picture on Twitter of Devers taking grounders at first.
Yeah.
So he did do some work at first.
He's clearly been doing work at first base, and that's also why I had saw those pictures before this story broke that he had been doing work there. So it's clear he's doing the work there. So common sense would tell you, okay, maybe he's not out there because Boston's in town, and it's just not something he's comfortable doing. I think that was pretty obvious. Let's move to the other baseball story. I don't want to spend too much time on it. ABS. I think this is a great idea, by the way. ABS will be used in the All-Star game. Why not? It's an exhibition. It's a showcase. You get a chance to showcase what you are planning on bringing, get a little taste of how it's going to all play out. I think this is a great place to do it. You've always loved the idea of starting stuff in the minor leagues, but this is like your only chance to do it at the big league level in a game that a lot of eyeballs will be on, but also doesn't count.
Yeah, I have questions about this ABS thing though.
Now, real quick, I saw Jeff Passan's tweet about, I don't feel like we have the same resistance, because in his tweet he's talking about how people are saying it's going to ruin baseball. I don't feel that type of resistance to it like we did when they went to the pitch clock, when they did all of the rule changes, where there was clear resistance. I put my hand up. I was one of them at that time.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's the conversation right now when it comes to ABS. And this is a kind of a nothing burger. It doesn't really matter one way or the other because it's going to be coming one way or the other anyway.
Yeah.
But I found that tweet interesting because last time I felt that, I felt like kind of the hesitation, push back against it. I don't feel that this time around with the ABS.
I don't feel it either, except for Chris Ello, but he's slowly coming around to it, which there are
Chris is a resistant of everything. I think he
was resistant of the Ghost Runner, although he still doesn't like the Ghost Runner.
Yes.
He's resistant of the pitch clock, which I understood because it was kind of weird to all of a sudden have a clock involved. But like Jeff Passan says in his tweet, there's going to be growing pains, but we're all going to get used to it.
If we didn't have the pitch clock put yesterday's game aside, let's go to those 4 previous games that I went 257, 301, 258, 301.
Those are like 4-hour games.
If we didn't have a pitch clock, man, we would have been here forever.
Yes, you would have.
Oh,
I remember doing a
pitch clock. I'm sorry, that gives me like hives. It just reminds me of like doing a game from a TV. Oh,
now I want to know, like, if the players. Do they still have the same challenge rules? Do they still only get 2 a game on each side, or for the ABS system in the All-Star game?
I'm assuming that it's going to be played out the same way it was played out in spring training. So, and that's something that MLB should make sure they're sending the memos out on, because they have a tendency to put things out there and then tell nobody how it's actually going to be ran. You know what I'm saying? So
yes,
let's go ahead and make sure the memo goes out for the All-Star game, exactly how they're going to play it, challenges, all of that.
I'm fascinated to know how teams are going to use this as strategy. Like, I know it's not coming to the game till probably next year or the year after, but like take last night, for example. A pitch early in the game, are they challenging, or are they going to just hold their challenges until late in the game?
I don't think we know, because, the strategy for the extra inning, it took a few games before people started figuring out what the strategy was going to be.
Yeah.
And then now everybody kind of has the same strategy as it pertains to, you're down 1, whether you're trying to shoot for the 2 runs or whatnot. So, yeah, I would imagine that an All-Star game is not going to be enough to figure out what the strategy is. I would imagine we won't know that until whenever it's instituted in a regular season and we start to see some games, added against it.
I could totally see like a player in the All-Star game using the challenge in the first inning, and then everybody's like, man, you just wasted one of our challenges in the first inning. But there's got to be a designated guy that's allowed to do it, because the manager cannot call for a challenge, right? It's just pitcher, catcher, and
player or batter. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. This was a question Jesse and I had for each other a lot during spring training, but it never really manifested itself because you guys are coming in and out of the lineup, and there really can't be a strategy in spring training using that because it's like a new guy. I mean, maybe at the end of spring training, you could maybe start to do some strategy, but why? At that point, you're getting ready for the season. It's not going to be a part of your current season, so why even mess with it? So I don't know that teams really did too much strategizing on it. I mean, maybe there were some conversations in the coach's room after some of those games in spring training, but I don't know that they got too in depth with it.
I would think Manny has ultimate authority to challenge a pitch if he wants to.
For sure. But if it's this, man, you lose your 2 challenges in the first 2 innings and you get to 7 and 8, 9 innings, and there's some calls that you wish you had that challenge for.
I think you got to save them for the second half of the game, unless there's something that is egregious and totally changes the game. Like,
maybe you're facing a Wheeler, someone like that.
Go.
Early that you might use it where like, man, runs is going to be hard to come by. This might be our only shot. Maybe you challenge in that spot.
It is kind of funny, though, that players sometimes think it's a ball and it's not. It's actually a strike.
I tell Jesse all the time, we are so wrong so often.
Yeah.
When it comes to the players, calling balls and strikes.
Yeah. Yeah. Bad.
It's a good thing we don't have to do it. So we can still be critical because we never will have to get behind there. We don't see in the Major League Baseball, and you see this in the NBA, former players becoming officials or becoming an umpire.
Oh, that is true.
Like you've seen it a few times in the NBA, guys who've had, good careers and then be officials, and it makes perfect sense. You don't see anybody in baseball going.
No, they don't want anything to do with that. Are you kidding me? Last night, though, I thought it was funny when you guys were talking about, or Torey Lovullo came out in the field, and you guys had no idea what he was trying to get the umpire's attention for, and you were like, maybe it would be nice to use the microphone that you have as an umpire to tell us what's going on. Like, do you think that's ever going to happen? Because it makes sense.
It should. It really should. I mean. The more, and I feel like the more these guys, and when I say these guys, umpires, get comfortable with the mic, I'm hoping that it'll eventually open it up to more explanation. I think what ended up being the issue was
Jason was licking his fingers.
Yeah, you got to wipe it off if you go to your mouth. That's the only thing I can think of because they didn't even go check him. It was like they just had a conversation and. Couple of the umpires started to come, and it's like, never mind, and then it just moved on. I'm pretty sure that's what it was about.
I really appreciate your guys' breakdown because you guys went through all the different scenarios of what it may be, and you're like, and Brian Esposito is handling it very well, so it's not that big of a deal, I guess. Like, you shouldn't have to.
We're just we were body language readers at that point because no one would turn their mic on. So
it's kind of crazy, Mike Shildt was ejected last night. He does not like to get ejected.
He doesn't like to get ejected?
No, he said that he prides himself on being a guy who doesn't have players get ejected, himself doesn't want to get ejected.
He definitely does, but it was funny when he walked out and threw his paper to the side like, let's go then.
That's my favorite part. When they toss you, it's like all hell breaks loose. Now that you've tossed me, I'm coming out on the field.
And he was basically telling him, like, at least, and I'm an amateur lip reader, by the way, but it looked like he was telling him basically, like, this dude is pitching a hell of a game, and you're squeezing him back here. And that was kind of the gist of it. And all the other umpire could do was go, yeah, all right, yeah. All right,
and then he went over the line, and he goes, you're out.
No. He didn't say that at the time. When he got ejected, he was telling him where those pitches were.
Yes.
When he came out to get his money's worth, he was telling him at that point, this guy is pitching a hell of a game and you're squeezing him. Something along those lines.
A little disappointed he didn't take the glasses off this time.
It wasn't worthy of that. He took them off for Adrian. Adrian got the glasses off in New York when he lost all of it.
Yeah,
sometimes that's when you know he's really upset. He takes the glasses off, chucks those along with the scorecard. Yeah, he's on one that day.
It's on. Ding, ding, ding.
All right, let's get to break. We got the Gambit coming up next.
We got the Gambit.
Gambit up next. More Gwynn and Chris. Hour number 2 here on Gwynn and Chris. This hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. Overwhelmed by processed food? U.S. Wellness Meats offers an all-natural alternative. 100% grass-fed beef, pork, poultry, wild-caught seafood, and more. Ship free from family farms. Get your 20% off your first order at uswellnessmeats.com.
I love a good soup.
Excuse me?
You said soup. I was trying to make funny.
Food.
I love a good soup.
Food.
Love a good soup food.
Yeah, no, that can happen when you're trying to read a read that you hadn't read before.
What is your favorite seafood? I don't like seafood, so this question doesn't apply to me.
Oh, I love seafood. My favorite seafood.
You seem like a crab guy.
I can be a crab guy.
I can see you just cracking the claws.
It's a lot of work. Crab is a lot of work.
That is true.
So, that's not always that thrilling for me. I like a good calamari. I like a good scallop.
Oh.
Good shrimp. Fish. I'm good with fish. I get some good octopus.
Like, isn't that calamari?
I mean, I'm talking of just so you got it like. Yeah, the rest of the great restaurant out here by Travis Swigert. He does an octopus that's not calamari. It's like like a real octopus, like grilled, cooked. That's good too. Calamari is like calamari is like French fries. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love calamari. I guess I like that seafood.
That's kind of like the finger food, the one that's very the calamari is kind of the easy one.
Oh, calamari's super easy. I mean, I could eat shrimp too, but like whenever I go to like Benihana or one of those restaurants and they do the shrimp throw, do you ever try to? They always make me try to catch it in my mouth like I'm an idiot.
No, my days of catching shrimp, that's past. I'm too old to be like letting shrimp hit me in my eyeball and like fall over to the side. Yeah, no,
you just reminded me when I had a birthday dinner at one of those places like when I was a drinker and I was not in a good place and they threw the shrimp at me and it hit me in the eye and it like closed my eye for the rest of dinner.
I could 100% see you mad as hell that you couldn't catch the shrimp and like, oh my eye!
I was like, I hit my eye. The guy started laughing. He just knew I was drunk. That's why.
I could 100%.
I don't drink anymore, people. I don't drink anymore.
Probably a good idea, bud.
Yep. Ready for the Daily Gambit?
Right. Let's go ahead and get to the Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is a mortal lock.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. On the chat, it says squid and octopuses are different, Skraby. I didn't know. What is calamari squid or something? Or
I don't know. It's usually got fried bread on it, so it's hard to tell what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm not a big seafood guy, so I don't know.
I think calamari might be. That might be. I think it's squid. I think calamari is squid.
What is calamari? Now that we're here, squid.
Yeah,
all right, I learned something new today. Something new today. Let's get into the bets that we made yesterday. Nick Pivetta and Merrill Kelly, who had more strikeouts last night? We both said Pivetta. We were both correct. He had 7. Merrill Kelly had 4. And by the way, Merrill Kelly looks more and more like Woogie by the day. By the
like
day. Who? Woogie, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was a shot of him. I think it was after he gave it the home run. I was like, man, that is Woogie.
He's just got way more swag than Woogie. Right? He's rocking the Jordans out there. He's got a little more meat on his bones. But man, that face when he came in after the one inning, he was like looking towards the camera. It took everything in my power not to say it on air.
I wonder if he gets that all the time.
He has to, dude. He has to get that. He has to get Woogie all the time.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know what Woogie's real name is. I just know that was his character in something about Marin.
Yeah, great character, by the way. Great character. Next one
I
was.
don't know if he was a great character.
I mean, his character was a bad
weirdo.
person, but the acting job was amazing.
It was amazing. I mean, that's why he gets paid big bucks.
Fernando. Oh, wait, sorry. Who had more hits yesterday? Fernando or Corbin Carroll? I actually went and looked up Luis Arraez, so I should have.
I got it for you if you want it.
Oh, yeah. How many hits did Fernando?
One.
Yeah, so we tie. Because you said
Push.
Corbin, I said Fernando. Now, the other bet was the Dodgers and the Brewers over under 8.5 total runs. You went under, I went over. It was well under. 3-1 Brewers equals 4. And that's it because we made a SDFC bet, but that is for later this week. All right, bets tonight. Diamondbacks and Padres. Over under 8.5, Tony.
We got
Cease and Fought.
Oof. Oh, 8.5. So we're
Yeah.
looking at like a 5-4 joint.
Yeah.
I can't see. I'm gonna go over.
I'm gonna go under just so I can make up some ground. More strikeouts tonight. Fought or Cease? I'll go first. I will say Cease. Tony, Fought or Cease? More strikeouts.
Cease.
Okay, and then we go to Wimbledon. Oh, by the way, Tony, did you see that there was some more AI controversy at Wimbledon?
I did not.
They have had to replay points because the thing is not
AI
working.
is messing up.
I guess
Why isn't this a bigger story?
Because Wimbledon's trying to push this down.
They're suffocating the story.
They're suffocating the story. This time it was a ball boy that was running across the court, and they started the point or something, and the AI didn't turn on, so they said, "Oh, stop!" It's like when we do a recording, Tony, and I mess up, and I go, "Stop!" That's what they do during Wimbledon, which is kind of crazy.
I know a little bit about something like that.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. But anyway, Taylor Fritz, the San Diegan, is taking on Carlos Alcaraz on Friday, and it's the spread. So Alcaraz is minus 5.5 games.
Yeah, Alcaraz dominated this last match I watched, so I'm going with Alcaraz. What's the thing? It's over 5.
Yeah, it's Alcaraz is favored by 5.5 games.
Yeah, give me Alcaraz.
I'm gonna go with
I don't think
Alcaraz,
anybody's
too.
beating that guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him too. Yannick Sinner and Novak Djokovic. Sinner minus 3.5 on the spread. I'm gonna go Djokovic. You're gonna go Sinner or Djokovic? Minus 3.5. Sinner is the favorite.
Wait, is this
Wimbledon?
Wait, Djokovic is playing Sinner?
Djokovic? Novak Djokovic?
Yeah. Huh. Hey, did Trinity Rodman's boyfriend get beat? Did Trinity Rodman's boyfriend get beat at Wimbledon? He did. He lost to Sinner. Oh, all right.
Oh.
Yeah, give me Sinner.
All right, I had no idea that there was so much behind that one. Mackenzie Gore tonight pitching at the Cardinals. Over under 7.5 strikeouts. Tony.
Who they playing?
Cardinals at St. Louis.
Yeah, book it.
Over. I'm going to go over as well. All right, that's it for the Daily Gambit. But we do have, before Tony gets out of here, we do have one of these.
Yes, indeed. We have ourselves lineups. Shall we get to them? Yes, we shall.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, we go a little change up. Gavin Sheets gets off his feet today. He'll be the designated hitter. And Bryce Johnson will play some left field. So, that being said, Tatis, Arraez, Machado, Sheets, Merrill, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Johnson, Maldonado.
All right. That's a winning lineup in my mind right there.
Word up.
That's a winning. So last night with Luis Arraez's home run, before you get out of here, he was talking after the game about how he usually tries to hit line drives. He doesn't like trying to hit a home run, but in that particular at bat, he was trying to hit a home run. Like when he says something like that, I don't even know how to quantify being a guy who can determine whether or not they're going to hit a home run or a line drive.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. I don't think he's claiming that he can dictate he's going to hit a home run. He just believes he's in a position in that particular count to hit a home run.
Okay.
Because of where how that bat played out. I'm pulling it up right now. Give me a second.
I get it. I kind of get it. Like because of the circumstances.
He was 2-0.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
2-0. It's more so I want to hit line drives, but I'm going to take a shot here because it's 2-0, and I think I'm going to get this. And that's exactly what he got. He got a 2-0 cookie, and he hit the pee out of it. You know, that ball got. I mean, he doesn't hit home runs where you're like, oh, that's a homer.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as he hit it, I was standing up. I was like, oh yeah, that's gone.
He knew
it
too. I mean,
he knew it too. Exactly. He doesn't do that kind of stuff. So I don't think it was that. Oh, I know I'm going to hit a home run. I put myself in a count where I can be aggressive because I feel pretty confident I'm getting this particular pitch, and he didn't miss.
I'm glad I asked because that makes total sense. And I think that there should have been a strike called in that entire at bat.
100%. It changed it from 1-1, which is not the same. It's harder to. It's not that you can't just say forget it, I'm gonna sell out, but the percentages aren't in your favor at that point. And it was just Luis being Luis, basically.
He's on a heater.
All right, let's get to break. When we come back, what we got when we come back?
Well, I am going to are you going to be with me?
I am not going to be with you.
Okay. I'm going to hear from Torey Lovullo of the Diamondbacks. He was on with Ben and Woods this morning, so he had some things to say. And then I also want to talk about Mike Shildt and his ejection and what it means to players that Mike Shildt stands up for them.
Sounds like you got some good stuff there lined up the next segment.
Thank you.
I will be back, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back. I'm not going to leave Skraby hanging for the rest of the day as I didn't yesterday, but he's got to hold it down.
Someone sounds like they feel guilty. So
more Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Here's some traffic.
Soapy Joe's has turned scratch and sniff to scratch and
Ooh. Hit in the air to deep right field. Luis Arraez towards the Petco porch. Gonna go! Fifth of the season for Luis Arraez, and the first run of the night as the Padres go ahead 1-0 here in the seventh.
That was Luis Arraez winning the game for the Padres. But he did say after the game, Luis Arraez that is, he did say that if Toddy and Jackson didn't make those catches, then that home run doesn't really matter. And he's absolutely right there. Matt Skraby here with you. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Gwynn's going to be back in a second. Chris is on vacation. We'll be back on Monday. We're going to talk about Mike Shildt here just a second. But tune into the Manager's Report with Mike Shildt this Friday at 9 a.m. on Ben and Woods. The Manager's Report is refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. I want to talk about Mike Shildt being ejected, and we're also going to hear from Mike Shildt about his ejection. But I also want to hear from Torey Lovullo, the manager of the Diamondbacks. Now, usually we don't make a big deal about managers, of the other team, but we obviously have had him on the show. Great dude, always gives his all when he has an interview. And he's always been nothing but great to this station. So I appreciate that. They asked him some really, really interesting questions. And the first question that he was asked the first question I want to play for you was, how did Corbin Carroll emerge from his sophomore slump? Because last year, Corbin Carroll had a rookie season to remember, and then he wasn't as good last year, and now he's having another great season this year. So obviously there was something maybe that not changed, but obviously he did something. So Ben Woods asked Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo about that this morning, and here's what he said.
Yeah, first of all, I want to talk about Jackson Merrill and compliment the Padres and AJ and how they drafted him and developed him and put him through the system. And he's a really, really good player. At the end of the day, he's doing fine. He's going to be just fine. And these are just normal growing pains that young players have to go through. This is a very tough level. I think what happened with Corbin last year is that the league made some adjustments to him. He was trying to counterpunch. He was just late to figure out how to pull that off. And he became very hyper-focused on certain things that he probably didn't need to. And young players have young minds, and they go through young moments. And I think that was Corbin's stumbling block for the first couple months of the season last year, is that, okay, well, I know I can't hit this pitch. Mike Trout can't hit this pitch. Aaron Judge can't hit this pitch, but I'm going to try to figure out how to hit every pitch in every zone. What we've talked about with him is just shrink the zone, go to your strength, stick to your strength, and work through the pitches that you can't hit a different way. And I think he got back to his strengths, and rather than focusing on limitations, young players try to have no limitations when they step on a baseball field, and that's just the championship mindset that Corbin Carroll has. He's unbelievable. I wish you guys would get a chance to see what I see and talk to him the way I get to talk to him. Like, he's just a different breed, and he wanted to be the perfect baseball player. Nobody's perfect. You strive for excellence. I think that's what young players finally realize when they come out the other side.
That was a great answer by Torey Lovullo, and I think he's absolutely right. And it makes sense. I like what he said. Young players have young thoughts. Yeah, basically. I wish I would have written it down. But young players have young thoughts, which makes total sense. And he went on to say Corbin Carroll was trying to hit every single pitch that he was trying to prepare himself to hit every single pitch. And it's just not like that. It just doesn't work that way. And this does happen, as we all know. We see it. I don't worry about Jackson Merrill at all. I think he's going to figure it out. But I like that quote I like that clip where he says young players and young minds. It's very true, because Jackson Merrill has been at the top of the game at every level he's played at. And now that he's at the highest of all the levels, some guys are figuring him out, and now he has to kind of adjust. And he hasn't really been in this sort of situation where he is in a rut at the major league level, because last year he hit, I think it was 292 last year. So we all know his rookie season was really, really good. And we all know that he didn't really go through a prolonged rut We're not using slump anymore on this show because Tony told me players don't like it. So the rut that he went through last year only lasted 4 or 5 games. Now he's in a bigger rut this year, and he is doing uncharacteristic things like swinging at pitches outside of the zone, which is something that he, was pretty good at not doing last year. And it just all, to me, I feel like Jackson Merrill's pressing because he knows that he's better than what he's doing right now. And he wants to be there for his team. He wants to show up for his team. And he might be just, trying to do too much at the plate. We talked about this maybe a month ago. Like, pressing is when you're trying to will something to happen instead of letting the game come to you. And Jackson Merrill has some great looking at bats, and then he has some really, really bad at bats. And he swings through the high pitch is what is getting him right now. And I don't know, obviously I'm not a Major League Baseball player, but I don't know if it's as simple as just don't swing at high pitches. I don't think it's that simple, but there's got to be some sort of reset for him. And there's got to be some sort of swing thought that he can go back to. We heard from Xander Bogaerts yesterday saying that when Xander Bogaerts is in a rut, early in his career, he listened to way too many people. There are too many cooks in the kitchen giving him advice. And so when he was swinging, he's like, my hand's got to be here. My shoulder's got to be here. My foot's got to be here, all this stuff. And so you're thinking about too much at the plate. And so in this recent rut for Xander Bogaerts, he went to Victor Rodriguez and solely listened to Victor Rodriguez. So there are ways that Jackson Merrill can go about this. And I fully believe that he's trying to get out of this. And I fully believe that he's doing everything right in trying to get out of this. He's too self-aware to think that there is nothing that he needs to change. And, we said it last week, he's walking more. And so that is something that he's doing that's changing a little bit, because he didn't walk as much earlier in the year, but then he started walking after he got back from his injury. And those are the things that I love about Jackson Merrill, is that he's not afraid to change things. He's not afraid to, see what's happening on the field and then adjust accordingly, which I think is really important for him to do and for him to know, because these are just things he's going to build upon throughout his career. But Torey Lovullo, that was a great answer about Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll, basically just trying to do too much, trying to be able to hit every pitch in every zone. It just really doesn't work that way. But that was a great question by Ben Woods. If you want to listen to the rest of the interview, make sure you go to 973thefan.com or go to the YouTube page, Ben Woods or 97.3 The Fan. You will find that interview there. In San Francisco, this will tell you how things are going for the Giants. It's the top of the 9th, and Mike Yastrzemski is pitching. So it's 13-0 Phillies over the Giants right now. This is a blowout. And Mike Yastrzemski is not throwing. He's just lobbing the ball up there. Kyle Schwarber's up right now. So you got to think that Kyle Schwarber's looking to hit a home run or something like that. But anyway, Mike Shildt, he was ejected last night, and it was about, the strike zone. It was about standing up for his player. I want to play this first. This is his post-game reaction. Oh, Mike Yastrzemski just hit Kyle Schwarber maybe in the head. It was a 65-mile-an-hour pitch, but that caught my attention because Yastrzemski is very embarrassed that happened. Let's see real quick, the replay. He's trying to throw like a knuckleball at him. Oh, it hit him in the back. Anyway, why is Yastrzemski trying to throw a knuckleball? All right, I'm all over the place right now. But Mike Shildt, he was asked by the media after the game last night about the ejection. Here is what he said.
Yeah, listen, I don't do that a lot. I think I don't think I know. I got a lot of healthy respect for the Umpires League. The job's hard. I also, one thing we talked about recently is making sure that we're going to offensively protect our guys in the sense of like being stingy with balls, not swinging out of the strike zone. And so I took a little exception with the 3-0 pitch to Sheets and carried it over to the next inning and, had my conversation. And again, these guys got a lot of respect for umpires. They have a hard job, man. And I don't want to sit there and bark at them a lot, but I also have a dugout to protect and stand up for. And, watching the game and being pretty clear about what I was seeing and being able to articulate that on both sides. And I feel very confident I was right.
So there you go. He feels very confident he was right. He probably was right. But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because this is why players love playing for Mike Shildt. He isn't a guy who gets ejected from games often. He isn't a guy who makes a big deal often. So when he is making a big deal and he is protecting his players, that it means something to those guys. Nick Pivetta, I'm sure, felt a lot better about things knowing that his manager had his back. And it tells every other player in that dugout that if there is something that goes wrong and it's not their fault and they need some backup, that he's going to be there for them. Again, he doesn't like to be ejected. He's said this before. He prides himself on having a team that doesn't get ejected, and he doesn't want to get ejected himself. And when you see your pitcher, Nick Pivetta, getting visibly frustrated on the mound with some of the calls, you slowly warm up to it, but then at a certain point, when you know that the game is could go the other way for you, you have to stand up for your player, and that's exactly what he did. And I think that goes a really, really long way. I know that, like anybody's job, I'll just use mine for example. If I needed Adam to stand up for me and, I don't know, not take heat for anything, but if I needed Adam to back me up on something and I knew I was right about it, I know that Adam would back me up and be there for me. And that's huge. It makes you want to work for someone. It makes you want to try hard for someone. And that's the whole thing that Mike Shildt is doing. And Mike Shildt is doing it right. He's not like the ejection for Mike Shildt is like something that he wants to stay away from, but when he does get ejected, players in that dugout know that he's serious right now, and Mike Shildt is there having their back, and that is a huge thing for this team. And that's why Mike Shildt has successful teams, because he does treat the team like a family, and he treats every one of his players, not that they are kids, but he treats them like his kids. Like he wants to protect them. And he did protect them, and I don't know if it necessarily got them the win last night, but hey, Padres win the game after Mike Shildt gets ejected, and we saw it in New York against the Yankees. After he got ejected, they ended up making a comeback and winning the game. So you got to think that that's some sort of boost for this team, and you got to think that that's something that those guys love seeing in the clubhouse. And I love seeing it from Mike Shildt too, because whenever you get a good Mike Shildt argument and you try to read his lips, he always says great stuff. And it's not like he's saying mean stuff either. He's just telling them like it is. Like, that was not a great call, even though that's not what he's saying. But it's not like it's not personal attacks towards the umpire. He's just going off of what he is being dealt by the umpire. And so if you want to maybe not get yelled at by Mike Shildt, maybe call better balls and strikes, umpire. That's my answer for you. Umpiring is not easy, I know. And he said that too. I used to be an umpire back in the day, and I did not like doing it because I did not like people being mad at me for a call that I made. And of course, I was not an umpire at any high level. It was like 15 and 16-year-olds, but still, competition gets crazy. I make a call, people start yelling at me, and then I eject them. I only had to eject one guy, but that was definitely something that needed to happen because he was starting to swear at me, and the other coach heard it and he backed me up too. So it wasn't like I just ejected a guy because I didn't like him or something like that. But you can't swear in a baseball game. You can't swear at the umpire in a baseball game where they're 15 and 16-year-olds playing. It's just, common sense. Come on, people. All right. When we get back, Tony will be back. It is Sports Court. We have a headline on MLB.com I would like to talk about. Also, something happened to someone on 4th of July, and they're asking whether or not they're on the hook for it. So we will do Sports Court. When we get back, Tony rejoins me on Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Heading into the sports court here shortly on 97.3 The Fan. I'm Matt Skraby. This is Gwynn and Chris. Gwynn will be back with me shortly. Chris back on Monday from vacation. Phillies win 13-0 in San Francisco. And if you missed it, the Dodgers lost today to the Brewers in 10 innings. The Brewers walk it off. And that would be 2 straight series that the Dodgers have been swept. And if you listened a little bit earlier to Tony and I, we were talking about whether or not our conversation should be, is the division in reach now? Because the Padres right now, with the Dodgers losing 6 in a row and the Giants just losing, the Padres are 5.5 games back of the Dodgers. That is not a lot of games. And I know that we keep going through this whole thing of, can they get the division or should they just go for a wild card? Well, they need to actually get in the wild card first before they can go for the division, because they are 1 game back in the wild card right now. Although the Giants losing is going to have some sort of another half game back. So if they win tonight, they will be in a tie with the Giants and they will be in the wild card. But with the Dodgers losing 6 in a row, and it's not something that they do often. I mean, this is the time to pounce. This is the time for the Padres to gain some ground. Can you imagine going into the All-Star break with the Padres like 2 or 3 games back? That would be awesome. That would be great. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more. If you were to tell us before the season that they would be 2 or 3 games back at the All-Star break, you would say I'm crazy. But that could be the case by the time we get to the end of games on Sunday. Also, about the All-Star game, Junior Caminero is entering the home run derby. He is the Rays' third baseman, but the division is not as out of reach as we have thought in the past. And when a team like the Dodgers loses 6 in a row, you absolutely have to take advantage of that. Like 100%. You cannot afford to not win games while the Dodgers are losing if you want the division, which I know that they want the division. So makes sense to me. All right. Sports Court is coming up here. We got some good topics, and then we'll do some traffic after. Actually, let me put the traffic back in here. I just accidentally deleted it. Jeopardy music. Here we go. Sports Court after traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Good afternoon. Got a few problems already. Southbound 805 at the 163. 3-vehicle accident in the center divide. Eastbound King Freeway just before the 805. Accident involving a motorcycle. Not showing if lanes are blocked. And you do have lanes blocked westbound King Freeway just before Euclid. Fast lane and 2 right lanes. So stay toward the middle. That's westbound King Freeway before Euclid. And Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
Do you have a sports issue, San Diego? Do you need a third party to make a decision? The guys have put on their robes and picked up their gavels.
All rise. Here comes the judge.
Gwynn and Chris Sports Court starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
So it's been a little while for Sports Court, and I have received many requests for the wigs to come back. Now, Tony's down at Petco Park, so he cannot wear the wig, but I am wearing the wig, and it's already very itchy. So let's get right into what we're going to do today. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla for dining or takeout options. Visit spiroscuisine.com. First one today is going to be, there it is, a headline I saw on MLB.com last night. And I know this is a Matt Skraby headline, but I want to see if it's justified. The headline on MLB.com when I logged in last night said, 12K match by rookie sensation. And in parentheses, Ohtani home run aside. End parentheses. Jacob Mizorowski, this is the byline. Jacob Mizorowski allowed a leadoff blast to Shohei Ohtani, but was lights out otherwise, becoming the first starting pitcher since Ohtani with the Angels in 2023 to strike out 12 versus the Dodgers. I'll just go first. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Let the guy have his 12K masterclass. Why can't you put his name in the title? You don't even put his name in the title. You say rookie sensation, and then you say Ohtani home run aside. Like,
how long his last name is?
Mizorowski?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
rookie
care.
Sensation Mizorowski. It's a lot of words for a title, man. And you wanted to get the Ohtani part in it. You know it had to be.
The SEO, the search engine optimization on Ohtani in there is great, but there's no reason for you to put the parentheses, if I'm going to say that because I'm a judge right now, the parentheses in the title. Parentheses. I think it's ridiculous. Do you think it's ridiculous?
No. And here's why I don't think it's ridiculous. It was the one thing that he gave up. He punched 12.
Yeah.
Like light work too in 6 innings. But I think it is, as much as I am with the idea that there's too much Ohtani sometimes, that has to be put into the story. Like the one guy that got him was like the first at bat of the game and bridged him. And then he was like, all right, that's cool. Now take this. Here's 12 of them.
You're swaying me a little bit. You're swaying me because it
I'm
was
just
a
saying,
leadoff home run.
Right. If it would have been like,
fifth inning home run.
Yeah, mid-game, maybe it's not worth the mention in the title. But leadoff homer was like your first introduction. You've been blowing away all these big leaguers. Boom. Introduce you to Shohei Ohtani. And then he got back to like blowing big leaguers away again.
Yeah, 12 Ks, and I'll take it against the Dodgers. I guess you swayed me a little bit. I just think it's just let the kid have it. Listen to me.
I feel that. No, I feel that it hasn't. To be honest, though, it's not like they haven't been like.
No, they've been hyping Jacob Mizorowski up a lot.
So he had to take a little side seat for the title of this one.
I mean, Ohtani is the best baseball player in the game right now, so I get it. I get it. I guess a little bit, but poor Jacob Mizorowski. He's going to go to bed crying tonight. This one came in from Reddit, and it's something that happened on 4th of July. On 4th of July, I did something I'm extremely ashamed of. After drinking a little too much, my friends and I decided to play some volleyball in the backyard. Since we were all drinking, we made the teams as fair as we thought. It was 4 couples, and each team had 2 couples. I tend to get too competitive, especially after some drinks, and this is where things take a turn for the worse. Before I say what happened, I know I'm in the wrong. When we were playing, I had the opportunity to spike a ball. And being the competitive person I am, I ended up spiking the ball right into my friend's wife's face. Imagine that scene in Meet the Parents with Ben Stiller in the pool. Immediately, the blood started flowing, and I knew I made a huge mistake. They had to go to the ER. Turns out, I broke her nose. My wife is still mad at me, and she thinks we should pay the ER bill. I don't think that's really the right thing, but I'm going to do what she wants. But, Tony, should we have to pay the ER bill?
Yep.
Wow.
You spiked the football.
But volleyball.
The volleyball out of just being a pure competitor. and it broke someone's wife's nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I hate as a fellow competitor myself. Yeah, you gotta chuck that one on the chin there, sir.
Isn't that just like part of the game? Like, hey, we're playing volleyball.
No one's getting paid out there right now. Nobody's it sounds like this was kind of just a cool, and he sounds like he's the only one who gets like this based on how he's telling the story.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying that it's an obligation, but it's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do, but I don't know if they should pay the whole ER bill. Do you understand how expensive the ER bill is?
Yes, I do. I definitely understand it. And maybe there's a midpoint here. You pay half the bill,
Yeah, something like that. But geez, man, calm down a little bit. Stop spiking the ball into people's faces.
Right? Is it really worth it? Like, in order for a spike to like really, they had to be like pretty close range.
I would guess
for them not to be able to get out of the way.
Not to mention, a spike is a pretty athletic play. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, to like hit a hard spike if you're not a volleyball player. I mean, I can just imagine it right into her face.
just like Meet the Parents.
Just like Meet the Parents, and then the shock and that sets in after that.
Once it's once the blood starts to flow, that's what everybody goes.
Oh, and then you want to hide as fast as possible,
crawl into a hole.
I can imagine this guy's wife just being like, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?" And just yelling at him and everything.
Which in the moment is like not helpful. You are not at like all in full panic, and you like all of a sudden, being berated.
Yeah, berated is right. Like, I'm already feeling bad that I broke my friend's wife's nose, and now my wife is telling me how terrible of a human I am.
How do you do something like this? Just all kinds of things. You're all
kinds of stuff.
Defense mechanisms come up. You're like, I didn't do it.
All right, next one. I have a friend that makes very stupid bets amongst our friends group. Last year, before the NFL season, he couldn't stop talking about how his Cowboys are going to finally break through. We had some beers one night. I guess I had a theme with this one. It's alcohol involved. And since I know he makes stupid bets, I bet him $250 the Cowboys won't win one playoff the crazy person he is, he said, "I'll bet you $500
take it.
the Cowboys make it to the NFC Championship." This was last year. This was last year.
He upped the ante. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Even better.
As we know, Cowboys missed the playoffs, and I won the bet. My friend, unfortunately, got laid off midway through the year, and so money was really tight. I never said one word about the bet to him. He found a new job and is established in it. He's never said anything about the money he owes me. Do I ask him? I guess I'm up first. Do I ask him to pay up or be a nice friend and move forward without saying anything? So here's how I would handle it. I wouldn't ask for it, but I would make a joke about it. I would be like, if it was the perfect opportunity, I'd be like, oh, like the time you bet me $500 that the Cowboys would make it to the NFC Championship. Oh, by the way, you haven't paid me for that $500 yet. Like, you think you could Venmo me some $500? But I think you asked for your money. This guy made a stupid bet, and you have to pay it off. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, no, this is an absolute no-brainer.
Oh.
Like, you did the cool friend thing. Don't bring it up. And then he lost his job. You didn't bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's established in his job. That's what it said, right?
Yep.
Yeah. No. Give me my bread, player. Like, I need my chips with dip. You're already delinquent at this point. So hand it over. We don't have no problems. And listen, I mean, this is a really, really, really good friend. You're probably going to be willing to kind of kick the can down. But eventually,
you're going to have to pay.
Don't let us start hanging out and I see you just living lavishly and buying stuff. Then it's going to become an issue at that point.
Yeah.
So just pay. Just pay up because you got the money at this point. And maybe, I shouldn't say that. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't have the money.
Doesn't matter. He made the bet.
Maybe that's why he hasn't brought it up yet. But if these two are hanging out and my man is like, buying drinks and,
got a new car or something.
Seemingly is doing all right. Yeah, man. Break bread.
Yeah, I say the same. Last one, real quick. I just remembered that I wanted to do this one, but I didn't have it written down. Basically, here it is. This guy is taking his brand new girlfriend to Padres
You're
games.
not making this up.
No. This was actually to me, but this is the basic gist. This guy is taking his brand new girlfriend to Padres games because he thinks it would be a fun thing for them to do. However, she doesn't know anything about baseball. Anything. Anything. Doesn't even know what an out is, I guess. Okay. And so he's been to like 3 games with her, and he's so annoyed by all of her questions. And he doesn't know if he should back out of taking her to Padres games because she asked literally hundreds of questions during the game.
Listen. What's I don't know what
I don't even know
name
either.
is.
Let's just call him Mitch.
We'll call him Mitch. Mitch, my advice to you is it sounds like you have a moldable young lady.
Ooh, I like that.
Willing to learn. And in order to learn, the good learners, they ask a ton of questions all the time. And so just some advice from a man who's lived it a little bit. If you want to continue going to games and like eventually start to enjoy games with this significant other of yours, keep taking her. Keep taking her. Keep answering all of the questions you deem dumb or irritating because eventually she will get it. And when she gets it, man, you might have the best setup in this bad boy. You get to go to the games, enjoy. She's understanding. You're understanding. Y'all can both drive back mad as hell when they don't do what you think they should have done and go drive back happy when you got a victory. If you don't, then she falls out of wanting to learn about baseball.
And your relationship is over.
Maybe not. Maybe your relationship isn't over, but you certainly won't be able to enjoy coming to Petco Park without having some side noise that you got to deal with. I'm just saying, you might as well try to just deal with the questions and the irritation of them right now, because on the other side of that is pure joy.
Pure joy. That's a good way of putting it. I think it's kind of cool that she wants to go to games with you. Absolutely. And she wants to be a part of this. I think it sounds like she likes you because she wants to go to these games with you. I went and took a guy from Ireland one time to a baseball game when he was visiting, and he too knew nothing about baseball. And he kept asking questions. And you know what? I felt really good about myself because I had all the answers and I'm like the expert. And I'm never the expert of the baseball group. So it felt really good when he was asking me all these questions. And then he would ask me questions that I legitimately didn't know the answer to. And I thought those were good questions that I need to learn how to answer. But I say stick with her. I say answer all of her questions. This is going to work out for you in the long run. It's not a short-term thing. Like, if you like this girl,
it's the long game.
It's
Gotta
the
play a
long
long
game.
game on this one.
It's the long game. Anybody else complaining about this, you just tell them to shut it. All right. That is it for Sports Court. My head is itchy because of this wig. It's very hot. I'm sweating. When we get back, more. Yesterday, we had some success with Padres trivia for a prize, and today we're going to do the same. So 833-288-0973 Padres trivia up next on Gwynn and Chris 97.3 The Fan.
Padres Diamondbacks today.
And Merrill gets there to make the catch.
Pre-game 5:40.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris, I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight and back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Brewers, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over there. So.
What are you thinking to see it for the first time?
I'm thinking that
hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, who not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris, I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight and back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like him.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Brewers, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over there. So.
What are you thinking to see it for the first time?
I'm thinking
I'm hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So.
Matt Skraby here with you in the Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan. Tony Gwynn Jr. will be back for the Big Five. We have another game against the Diamondbacks tonight for the Padres. Dylan Cease against Brandon Pfaadt, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I had some news to share with you all from Jeff Sanders on Twitter. Ryan Berger is currently throwing a bullpen that likely lines him up for a Friday return to the rotation. So that's good news. Again, Ryan Berger throwing a bullpen and likely lines him up for a Friday return to the rotation. So we get a little bit of clarity on Ryan Berger. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Yu Darvish is lining up at some point this weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. He pitched on Monday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's Saturday. He lines up for Saturday. See, my math is great, and I did it perfectly on the air. So that's a good thing. Also, something to keep an eye on, the Yankees have DFA'd DJ LeMahieu. So maybe someone that the Padres can bring in or at least take a look at, because he is he's not a terrible player whatsoever. He hit 266 so far this year and 128 at bats. His career is pretty good. He has a career batting average of 289, career OPS of 759. I mean, it's not going to jump out. These numbers that he has this year aren't going to jump out at you, but definitely something I think the Padres are going to kick the tires on, because if you could bring in a bat like that, you might not need to make as many trades. Say you get him in here in the next couple days, then you see what he's got up until the trade deadline. And if he's not what you need, then you know where you need to go with everything. So I definitely am going to be paying attention to that. But that's about it for the news today. Padres win last night, 1-0. Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr. saving the game. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic. It's true. They saved the game. Jackson Merrill saved a 2-run home run earlier in the game, and Fernando saved a solo shot that would have been a solo shot by Josh Naylor late in the game after the Padres had already taken the lead. So that was pretty good stuff. All right, we're going to get to playing Padres trivia here. You're qualified. If you win, you will be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Now, I'm always constantly evolving this game, and there's been so many people that accuse me of selecting players based on popularity. That is not true. So now I'm just going to randomly generate a number, and that's how we're going to go forward. But you have to answer 3 Padres questions in a row. If you get it wrong, you're done. It's not like Chris versus the fans in that way, where if you get it wrong and Chris gets it wrong, then you move on. You're just done if you don't know. So I'm going to generate right now. Line 4 is what it told me. Chris in San Marcos. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
How are you?
Good,
hey,
good.
Doing well. Just getting ready to actually just doing some errands, man.
Oh, I love it that you're listening while you're doing errands, because I hate errands. Errands are the worst. All right, Chris, let's get into question number 1. And that will be, who are the Padres closing out this first half against?
I don't even know, man. No. It would make sense. I've not even looked. I don't even know, dude. No.
All right, it's okay. It's all right. Thank you, Chris, for playing. Phillies. They're going to be playing the Phillies this weekend, and they're going to close out their first half against the Phillies. Last year, they closed out their first half against the Braves. I remember because I was there at that Sunday game when Chris Sale beat them. All right, thank you, Chris, for calling. I'm going to actually play the Chris versus the fans beds behind, because I think we need a little bit of music here. Let's go to the next caller. Oh, it says line 6. Leo. Hello, Leo.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. The team lead for most earned runs given up in a game is 9. Pitcher I'm talking about. Who was that pitcher?
Dylan Cease in Sacramento.
Wow, you even got the Sacramento part correct. That is correct. Nice job, Leo. We go to question number 2. 2 players have hit 2 home runs in a game this season. Name both.
Gavin Sheets.
Okay.
And players. I'm going to go. I don't think it's Jake Cronenworth, but I'm going to go with Cronenworth.
Oh, Leo, I'm sorry. Thank you for playing. It was Gavin Sheets. That was a good one. I didn't think anyone would have got Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets did it in Toronto, and Fernando Tatis Jr. did it against the Cubs earlier in the year. So thank you for playing, Leo. Unfortunately, this game is very unforgiving because you don't get any sort of breaks at all. There's no lifeline. There's no Chris line. Nothing like that. Let's go to our next. Brandon, you came up on the random draw. Hello, Brandon.
What up, Skraby? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I know you're ready to play, so here we go. 2 players have struck out 11 batters in a game this season. Name both.
About Cease and Pavetta.
Cease and Pavetta. Oh, Brandon, I'm sorry. Cease was definitely one of them. Michael King was the other. Michael King also had 11 strikeouts. I'm sorry, Brandon. Again, this game is very, very unforgiving. Let me go back to my random picker. Line 5. Cesar, you're up, man. It's been a long time. How are you?
What's going on, Skraby? A long time.
Yeah, not too much. Here we go. I know you know your Padres trivia, so we'll get right into it. And let me get something. Who has the most extra base hits this season for the Padres?
I'm going to go with
Sheets. I'm sorry, Cesar. That is incorrect. Gavin Sheets is 3rd on the team. Manny Machado has the most extra base hits on the team right now with 36. I'm sorry, Cesar. We're going to have to say goodbye for now, but I appreciate you playing. All right, next contestant. Maybe this game is too hard. I don't know. Line 4, Chris, are you there?
Yes, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Let's see. 2 players have driven in a team-leading 5 RBIs in a game this season. Name both.
Skraby, you're killing us this week. 2 players. I'll do Machado and Gavin Sheets.
You are correct. Nice job. It was Manny Machado and Gavin Sheets. So nice job guessing. That was awesome. All right, Chris, here we go. Question number 2. I think this is not an easy one, but I think this is a doable one. Who has been intentionally walked the most times this season for the Padres?
The most times this season. Fernando Tatis.
Correct. He's been intentionally walked 5 times this year. For all you people out there, you'll never guess the second one, but Xander Bogaerts has been intentionally walked 3 times this year. So that's a little bit interesting. All right, here we go for the final question. You get this right, and you are qualified for that trip to Las Vegas. All right, this one's really tough. If you're going to win a trip or qualify for a trip to Las Vegas, it's got to be tough. Padres team lead for sacrifice flies this season is 5. Who is that player?
Sacrifice flies. I will go with something out of the blue here. I'll go with Luis Iglesias.
Jose Iglesias?
Jose Iglesias, yes.
I'm sorry, Chris. Xander Bogaerts is the answer to that one. I kind of felt like you were going to say Xander, but you didn't. I'm sorry about that. Again, this game is extremely unforgiving, and I have ran through a lot of players, so we're going to have to get some easier questions maybe. Line 6, Janet in Carlsbad. Hello, Janet.
Hello, Matt.
Are you ready to play?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Let's do this. The internet is not loading. Internet's not loading. All right, who has the highest OPS on the team?
Oh my gosh, I'm frozen.
Give me a name, please. Sheets. Oh, I'm sorry, Janet. That is incorrect. Manny Machado has the highest OPS on the team. Again, I'm just going to keep saying this. Unforgiving game. Let's go to our next random generator so I don't get accused of anything. Line 4. Josh in Carmel Valley. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
You ready to play?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Question number 1. I'm running out of great questions, to be honest. Let's just go with this. There are 2 guys tied for the most hits on the Padres so far this year. Name both.
It'll be Manny and Luis Arraez.
That is correct. Nice job. All right, we go to question number 2. Who has struck out the most times this year? What was that?
I'll take it. Tatis, I think.
Tatis
Yes,
is correct. You are moving on to question number 3. You get this right, and you are qualified for this trip to Las Vegas. Here is question number 3. Seriously. Oh, here we go. There are 2 guys that have been hit by the most pitches on the team this year. Name. I'm just gonna have you name one of them because I'm way past my time.
Tatis. He gets it all the time.
No, it's not. I'm sorry, Josh. It is Jake Cronenworth and Jose Iglesias have both been hit by 5 pitches this year. That is kind of crazy. I gotta say that's kind of crazy. Thank you for playing, Josh. All right, we're gonna go one more, and then we're gonna have to call it a day. I need to make this easier for tomorrow. Let me get my next player. My next player is going to be. Just lost the name. There it is. Oh, Rod. Hello, Rod.
No, this is the great Juan Cabrillo calling. Please give me a question. I feel like
okay, here we go. Juan Cabrillo. Who has, this is a crazy question, but who has the most plate appearances this season?
Hold on 1 second. Marcelo! I see my way on the Embarcadero.
Do you know?
Ask me the question one more time, please.
Plate appearances. Who has the most?
I would want to say Mr. Luis Arraez.
Mr. Luis Arraez. I'm sorry, Juan Cabrillo. That is incorrect. Luis Arraez missed a week, so he missed out at 20 at-bats. Fernando Tatis Jr. is number 1 at 391 at-bats. All right, I did my best. I gave it a go. Lots of callers. The game is hard. I'm not going to say that the game's easy by any stretch of the imagination. So tonight, I am going to go through, and I'm going to find questions that are a little bit easier for people. Because you know what, if you were asking me and I was on the other side of the phone, some of these questions I would have no idea the answer to. And I watch every single Padres game. So anybody who played, I appreciate you. If you're still on the phone, try to play tomorrow because we will have some easier questions. When we get back, we have some more Torey Lovullo sound from this morning. And that's seeing if I had anything else I really wanted to talk about. But no, we'll play the Torey Lovullo interview or parts of the interview from Ben and Woods this morning. And he actually talked about, they asked him about the incident with Ketel Marte and where a fan shouted something at Ketel Marte about his mother who passed. And Torey Lovullo stepped up and defended him. And so I'm curious to see what the answer from him is about showing humility. That's next on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
And now, the challenger, representing the San Diego Padres, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. Just 1 minute remaining. Out of here. That one up into the monster seat. Another home run. And that ends the round. He ends the round with 7 home runs. And he has earned a trip to the semifinal matchup. Now the challenger in this semifinal matchup, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. No doubt about that one. That one carried on to Lansdowne. That one is gone. He now has bonus time. Just 1 minute remaining. No question about that one. And tapped it up to put up in the championship matchup. And that ends the round. Finishes. Let's see what he can do. And now, the challenger in this championship round, Kyle Higashioka. That one carried out to Lansdowne. That one is gone. And he's earned 30 seconds of bonus time. Just 1 minute remaining. That draw off the right pole. There's a home run. Seconds left. And now, the challenger, representing the San Diego Padres, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. Just 1 minute remaining. Out of here. That one up into the monster seat. Another home run. And that ends the round. He ends the round with 7 home runs. And he has earned a trip to the semifinal matchup. Now here's the challenger in this semifinal matchup.
Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan, Matt Skraby here right now. Tony Gwynn Jr. will be back for the Big Five in about 15 minutes or so. And on the Big Five video, there's a little bit of a special guest from Tony Gwynn Jr. So everybody stick around for that. And if you want to watch the video, you can go to YouTube, just search 97.3 The Fan, and you will be able to find it. Click the live button. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matt Skraby, SKM. Let me start that over. MATTSKRAB as in boy. Why? I just saw on the bottom of MLB Network that it popped up. Robert Suarez is named an all-star. So yesterday, at the end of the show, I was discussing the Padres and their bases loaded woes and how they're basically not great when the bases are loaded. And so I was just looking at my notes and my sheet, and I wasn't able to look at the chat. and I missed the news. It came out like 5 minutes before the show ended, and I definitely would have said something, but that is just like, that is what happens. Like, normally, actually, let me say what actually happens. Normally, what happens is the news will come out 5 minutes after the show ends. So I got a gift of breaking news, and I didn't see it. So that is my fault. Sammy Lev delivered, though. He told you everything about it. And Sammy Lev is going to be taking over the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan at 5:40. So you've heard me talk about it. Torey Lovullo. It's Lovullo, right? It's spelled Lovullo, but it's Lovullo. And he was on with Ben and Woods this morning. If you want to hear the full interview, go to 97.3 The Fan SD or the Ben and Woods YouTube or the 97.3 The Fan YouTube, and you'll be able to find it there. But a couple weeks ago, a fan was ejected from a stadium for saying something to Ketel Marte, which upset Ketel Marte because his mother passed away, and it was the fan said something about his mom, and so that really upset him. And Torey Lovullo was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna sit here and hear that and not gonna say anything. So he turned around and he told the fan what's up. He said, you're basically, in a nutshell, because there were some swear words, is like, you're a bad person, man. You can't be saying that stuff. Why are you saying that stuff? So he was on with Ben Woods this morning, and they asked him about showing humility as a manager, and here is what Torey said.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My parents were unbelievable. They raised me with kindness and love in their hearts, and that's what I see. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. And I remember that every single day. I love being a baseball player. I love being the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's been a dream of mine, sit in the seat that I'm sitting in. I'll never take that for granted. And when we put on a uniform, we sign up for certain things. You sign up for those hecklers, those comments that are going to be made, and we live with it. We live with it. It would be great if I could, go to somebody's office and scream at them for 45 minutes in their face and tell them if they're not doing a good job, right? But that's just not the nature of that type of a situation. And ours is, we're exposed to some unbelievable fans and then some not so unbelievable fans. And when they cross that line, and there is a line, when they cross that line and it becomes too personal, that's when I've got to protect the boys. That's when I got to protect myself, the team, the organization, and say, this has gone too far. Clearly, Ketel, I've known Ketel for 9 years. He's an unbelievable young man. He lost his mom while we were in Chicago in 2017, and here this heckler is talking directly to Ketel about his mom. And I know Ketel's body language so well that I could tell that he heard it, and something triggered him. And I could tell that he was uncomfortable and things just were not going well. So by the time I got out there and saw that he was in tears, that's where the dad part of me took over. And so the protector took over. And I just wanted to hug him and tell him that I loved him and he was going to be okay and we're going to get through this. And it was just me being myself. It was me being my authentic self and just trying to support the boys like they were my own children. And that's how I consider them. I have 26 young men that I'm trying to raise to be great baseball players, but even better human beings.
That's a fantastic answer by Torey Lovullo, Arizona Diamondbacks manager. That is a fantastic answer by him. And it shows you why the Arizona Diamondbacks have kept him as the manager of the team for as long as they have, because that's a guy that I want to play for. And it's very similar to how Mike Shildt handles the clubhouse, because Mike Shildt would have done the same exact thing that he did, Torey Lovullo did, to defend Ketel Marte. Mike Shildt would do the same exact thing, and we've seen that a couple times this year. We haven't seen him actually like yell at fans or anything, but I think that Mike Shildt, if he would have heard something mean being said to one of his players, I know that he would have his players back. And it is funny. He said he wishes he could go to someone else's job and just scream and yell at them for 45 minutes. Like, that is something that I fantasize about sometimes, because he said it too. 99% of the people that listen to 97.3 The Fan and interact with 97.3 The Fan are great. There's 1% of people that really, really like to try and get me going. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But I would love to come stand behind someone, and when they mistype something, just be like, boo, you stink. That would be amazing. It would be amazing. But I get it. He said it too. I'm not at the major league level, but he said it too. Like, it's just part of the game, and you kind of have to just go with it. Although those comments about someone's mother who passed away, not okay in any sort of in any stretch of the imagination. You should never be saying that. I don't understand hecklers to begin with. I'm not one of those people, but I don't understand the heckler. Like, I was reading. This is something I do a lot. When I read articles, I go and I look at the random comments on these articles, and usually it's like local news. And so you get like the real opinion of people that actually live there. And sometimes these comments are just so bad. It's just like, wow, really? You really feel like you need to heckle people? One guy said, "Oh, I don't go to baseball anymore because people won't let me heckle." You can't go to a baseball game because you can't heckle? I mean, I'm all for people doing what they want, except for saying mean things to anyone, not just baseball players, but anyone. All right. As I was on my soapbox, I went way too far in the segment. When we get back, Big Five, 97.3 The Fan, Gwynn, Chris.
The big.
It has to do with average temperatures in the year 2024. And this is the average temperature, high, maximum per day, minimum per day. It is going to be your job today to find the 25 states whose average temperature is under 55 degrees. California's at 60. You're looking for anything under 55. I'm not going to let you go first. I'm going to give Tony first.
Let's start with Montana.
That is correct.
Montana.
Montana is the fourth coldest state in the U.S., 44.5 degrees average temperature. All right, Skraby, that leaves a really obvious one for you. I gave Tony first, but he didn't take it. So you can.
I don't know that these are that obvious to any of us.
All right,
Chris.
Well, I think one is obvious.
Alaska,
I think. I thought Alaska was pretty obvious. 27.8 degrees average temperature in Alaska. 16 degrees colder than any other state. Tony's up.
Washington, the state.
State of Washington is on the list at 48.4. So Tony takes a 2-1 lead. Skraby, give me a cold state.
Maine.
Tony, you're up 2-2.
How about Idaho?
Idaho's pretty cold. Cold enough at 45.5, seventh coldest in the U.S.
Well, it's my favorite state to say. Minnesota.
Yeah, that was kind of obvious. Same as Idaho. Minnesota, 45.5, Tony.
How about North Dakota?
North Dakota, there
North
you
Dakota.
Go. You found it, number 2, 43.7 there.
I'll take the lesser-known Dakota. The
South Dakota.
I think it's the more-known Dakota.
Yeah, I would think it's more. Tony, you are up in a 4-4 tie with no strikes yet.
How about Oregon?
Oregon, believe it or not, Oregon's cold enough to make the list. Tony's 5, Skraby's 4.
Never been here, but I knew someone from here and said it's very cold. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire's cold. Tony.
How about Vermont?
Vermont's cold, and it's right next to New Hampshire, so that was good. 46.3. Tony goes up 6-5.
How about Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure that's going to be in there. Just below. Tony, you're up.
We're going to move to Wisconsin's neighbor. How about little Illinois?
Oh.
How about a little Illinois? Little Illinois didn't make it. You can get your first lead of the day here.
A state that I've been to, a state that has beautiful scenery, Wyoming.
That's number 3. Wyoming, 44.3. I can definitely second that.
Laramie is like the
notion, having been there every year to Laramie. It's cold.
Now,
Tony.
Iowa.
Iowa. That's a great one.
Is it?
Has to be on there.
51.5. Iowa just snuck in there.
I'm going to bank on the part of the state that's not attached to the paw is cold. Michigan.
Michigan is a winner. Very good. The Upper Peninsula you're referring to.
The pod.
How about Utah?
Utah, Salt Lake City and company. Yep,
Park
it's
City.
cold there. 51.2. That is correct. Tony hits it. 8-8. The only difference is Tony's got a strike.
Nueva York.
Nueva York.
New York for Chris.
It does get cold there in New York. 49 degrees average temperature in New York is Tony.
Connecticut.
You
what about Ohio?
You ready to come up with an answer, Skraby?
Ohio.
Too hot.
I
Too
know.
hot.
I was thinking that because it's next to Illinois, but I live
Too
there
hot.
and it snowed.
Is that what you want, Ohio?
Yeah.
54.9.
Oh,
It's the last one on there. Skraby goes up 10-9.
how about a little Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
frigid old Pennsylvania.
Frigid old Pennsylvania.
Home of Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg. And cold enough at 52.1 to make the list.
Pennsylvania, baby.
10-10.
Massachusetts?
It has not been said. Doesn't mean it's correct, but it is 51.2. Skraby gets a bell.
Massachusetts.
11-10. Tony, you're up.
Oh man, this is hard.
There are 4 left.
Cold. How about Indiana?
Oh.
Indiana. No, Tony. It's a strike. 55.2. Indiana just over by 0.2.
Some of the coldest spots in the country are in the plains. Nebraska. Yeah. Lincoln. That's all I got on Nebraska.
Skraby's doing okay. That's correct.
Wow!
52 degrees.
Colorado.
Skraby for the win.
One of the most forgotten places in the United States
Is
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. And it is correct.
Yes! Sorry, that was a lot. Does that mean I win?
Game is over. Yes,
Game
you've
is
won.
over!
That was a stupid game.
I didn't think you'd like it since it didn't win it.
Those are my shoes on the glass.
Sound like you're playing basketball over there. Sounds like shoes squeaking on the floor.
Lack of rhythm is what that's.
All right, we're going to get into the Big Five here in just a second. Tony Gwynn Jr. rejoins me. As I said, there's going to be a special guest that is going to appear on the YouTube video. So stick around for that. I looked up at the TV in the break, and the Yankees and Mariners are playing. Yankees are up 3-0 in the top of the second. But their pitcher, the Yankees pitcher, has a landmine of a name for announcers. And I'm going to be I'm going to say this as slow as possible because you'll realize why it's a landmine. But Cam Schlittler is pitching for the Yankees. Cam Schlittler. That is a tough name, and I don't envy the Yankees announcers because that could easily be turned into another word. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about there. So I'm not going to say Cam Schlittler after this ever again. That's not true. What if he comes to town? Don't make promises you can't keep, Matt Skraby. Don't make promises you can't keep. All right. We have, during the Big Five, we're going to talk about the Padres and the quality starts that are thrown against them. We're also going to talk about the Cy Young voting, and the MLB.com put together a vote from some of their writers. So we'll talk about that. Micah Parsons. And then a German soccer club coach was very angry about grass. He was very angry about grass at the MetLife Stadium when they played there over the weekend. So we'll get into that as well. But first, let's go and get your traffic report.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by the Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament, July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Problems along the 15 freeway, hit and run on the northbound side at Claremont Mesa Boulevard off-ramp, couple vehicles involved. Also, southbound 15 on or near the Center City Parkway on-ramp, got a collision involving couple vehicles. The Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament is back July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Join sport legends and celebrities and tee off to support local heroes. Register now at SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. That's SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, as you can all see on the YouTube, if you're not watching YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan when you go there. Tony's got his son Trey in the booth today, so that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Good to see you,
he's
Trey.
rolling around. He's gonna be. He's already finished shag, or he's about to go down and shag and a little bit here. Have some fun.
Well, you'll probably do a lot better job than me, Trey, at shagging those balls because, you have a little bit of a talent in your gene pool. But anyway, good to have Trey along.
About that. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get into it. First, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Staples.
Number 5.
Last night was the 41st time that the Padres had a quality start thrown against them. That is 45% of their games and third most in the majors. Only the Rockies and Royals had more quality starts thrown against them. The Rockies have the worst record in baseball. The White Sox, the second worst. We know that. So, Tony, the Royals, I already said that. Big deal, little deal, or no deal that this is the 41st time they've had a quality start thrown against them?
Not a big deal because they don't match any of the other criteria of the teams that you named. I'm confused. You said the Rockies and Royals at one point, and then you said Rockies and White Sox.
You're right, I did. And that's I don't know why that is. I honestly, I copy and pasted this from something, and I didn't really read it.
So is it all three of those teams?
No,
or is
all
it
they
just
listed
two?
was the Rockies and the Royals have had more quality starts thrown against them. The Rockies have had 54. The Royals have had 42.
So where do the White Sox come in on this?
I don't know. Just forget about that. Just forget about that.
As you can tell, I don't know that it matters. I guess it all depends on what kind of starting pitching you have or the quality starts that your team is able to throw. I think given that the Padres are in a playoff spot right now and they don't look like any of the two teams you named. What's the Royals record right now off the top?
They're under 500 for sure.
They're under 500. Rockies, no need to go down that road.
500.
I don't know that there's any really thing you could compare it to other than that's just kind of how the year has gone. Padres have still managed to win what 7 games over 500 right now, despite those numbers you named. So I don't know that it's a big deal. I think obviously you'd like to separate yourself from that pack, but the fact that they're there and still fighting for a spot, I think it's less of a big deal.
The Royals are 45 and 48, and they're second place in the AL Central. I think it's a little deal, but I feel like every team, it's just different for every team. If you have good pitching and you win games 1-0, then it's not a big deal at all because it just ends up, if you end up with the win, that's all that really matters. And like you said, the Rockies are terrible, so I understand why they have had 54 quality starts thrown against them. The Royals are not doing well this year. And the Padres aren't in that same category, as you said. So.
Listen, the Padres have had their struggles offensively. I think it's pretty well, and I think that plays a part in it, but they're still finding ways to win games.
Number 4.
The latest Cy Young voting by MLB.com is out, and in the AL, I think everybody knows it's Tarek Skubal of the Tigers. In the NL, they have Zach Wheeler first with 27 first-place votes, and then they have Paul Skeens with 19 votes. For Skeens, he is having a great year. He still leads the NL with a 1.94 ERA. He also has a .92 WHIP and has held opponents to a 186 average. Both numbers are second in the National League, only to Zach Wheeler. Pay no attention, though, some say, to his 4-7 record. But consider this. He's allowed more than one earned run just twice in 11 starts since mid-May. So I'm up first. Should Paul Skeens' win-loss record be a part of the Cy Young vote? Let me start by saying I am not a Paul Skeens hater. I think that Paul Skeens is a good pitcher, and he seems to be a good guy. But I do think a win-loss record should mean, that Jacob deGrom won it a couple years ago when he lost 10 games. But I do think that when you're on a team like the Pirates, it's hard to give someone an award like that when Zach Wheeler is doing this every 5 days for a team that is going to go to the playoffs. So I do think that win-loss record should be a part of it. Some don't, though. What do you think, Tony?
Jacob deGrom's year was like an exceptional year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there was a ton of conversation about should he win, should he not win because of I think it was 8 wins he might have had, something along those lines. I think in terms of him going out and just doing his job and trying to keep runs off the board, he's doing that. But I think as it pertains to that award, there has to be some type of, record recognition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that you could just solely go off numbers. I mean, Wheeler's going to be pitching in much different type of games come August and September than Paul Skeens is going to be pitching in. And I think that should matter for something. I'm not saying that the win-loss is the end-all be-all, because it's not, especially in today's game. But 4-7, like, come on, dog. Like, you go. Do you have deGrom's number from that year? What was that year that he won it?
We'll see. Real quick. Because he is also
21?
I'm looking. Cy Young Award winner in the internet is being really slow right now.
Of course it is.
Okay, so 2018 and 2019, but in
I think it was it 18?
18 he was 10-9, 19 he was 11-8.
So either way, he at the very least he had a winning record when it comes. Paul Skeens is 3 games under 500, and I went to one of those. Losses. I saw it in person against the Cubs, and although he was nasty, they were ratatouilleing in some of his fastballs up into the seat. So I think you got to at least have a winning record. Like, so if he's able to flip it, that would mean he's had to go on a nice little streak here of winning games, and then we have a different conversation. deGrom's years, by the way, were like extremely special. Like they were like historic years.
He had 1.70 ERA in 2018.
That's a different monster. Like if he gets down there, okay, then we're having a different conversation. But I think he's up in like the mid 2s, 2.2, 2.3, which is excellent.
Yeah.
But not Jacob deGrom good.
He also pitched 217 innings that year. Jacob deGrom, the workhorse. I hope Paul Skeens can get some wins, though, because he does pitch great games, and then they lose 1-0 all the time. All the time.
Number 3.
The Kansas City Royals have signed former Cy Young Award winner Dallas Keuchel to a minor league contract, the team announced today. The 37-year-old left-hander will start at AAA Omaha and will earn a prorated $2 million salary if he reaches the big leagues. Keuchel has not pitched in the majors for nearly a full calendar year, and he elected to become a free agent last year in July after being designated for assignment by the Brewers. According to Jeff Passan, Keuchel scorched the radar gun after topping out at 92 miles an hour. So, Tony, does Dallas Keuchel make it to the big league team?
Royals?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I think he does end up getting up there. I don't know what their pitching situation is right now. He's throwing 92, which is hard for Keuchel. I mean, he wasn't throwing that when we last saw him. He was like 89, 90. And so he can do that. That's a couple MPHs. He knows how to pitch.
Yeah.
I think he's got a shot to get back up. Having not seen anything, I think he has a shot.
Do I think he has a shot? These are always really tough questions for him because immediately I want to say no. Because
you don't watch enough baseball to know on this one.
Well, I watch more baseball than I've ever watched before.
That may be true.
And a 37-year-old, all I can think about is when the Padres brought in Rich Hill and when they brought in Jake Arrieta. And I'm just like, these are just random stops at the end of their career. Dallas Keuchel did not pitch well for the Brewers last year. But I think the Royals, their pitching situation is a little dire. That's why they have him. So he'll probably make it up because of necessity. Necessity, Tony. Necessity.
Number 2.
It's the only reason why. Anyway, and you also got to remember he hasn't been pitching. His arm was probably fresh. He hadn't pitched in however many. Did he pitch last year for the Brewers?
Yeah, July 18th, 2024 was when he was D.F.A'd by the Brewers, but he pitched for them last year, yes.
We got some time off, so maybe he got a little freshness.
Maybe. Micah Parsons of the Cowboys is still waiting to get paid, and Jerry Jones is certainly taking his time. With training camp coming up very, very soon, Micah Parsons may hold out of training camp, some say. And some say Parsons deserves Myles Garrett money, which, if you don't know, is a record-setting amount of money for his position. I'm up first. Do you think Micah Parsons gets Myles Garrett money? I was reading a Dallas article earlier today about this, and it was hilarious because they say Jerry Jones's strategy is let the market set itself first, and then we'll pay you. And the guy was just going off about how that's the dumbest idea in the world because now you're overpaying all of your players because the market has been set so high. But in the end, I do think Micah Parsons is good enough for this, and I do think that Jerry Jones is going to give him big money because they need him, and they need him to be happy. Micah Parsons changes that defense, and if they don't have him, which we saw last year, they struggled. They struggled all year long, offensively, defensively, but Micah Parsons makes a huge, huge impact. So, Tony, do you think Micah Parsons gets Myles Garrett money?
No, I don't think he gets Myles Garrett money. He's not Myles Garrett, with all due respect. Myles Garrett is a different kind of problem than Parsons is. I just think Parsons has yet to really show himself to be as versatile as a guy like Myles is garnering like 3 dudes. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, yeah.
That's why he got paid the big bucks when it was all said and done. And we know how Jerry plays this game here. I mean, he's gonna wait and end up having he will overpay. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know that he's gonna get to Myles Garrett's money because he's gonna let this market set as he says. And we saw his act with Dak. We saw this act with CD last year. And, this is just how he operates. And it doesn't look like he's willing to change.
I don't know that there's another fan base out there that dislikes their owner more than the Cowboys dislike Jerry Jones.
I don't know that no, that's not true. I was about to say, I don't know that there's a fan base that has all of the evidence to dislike their but that's not true. There's plenty of evidence for some of the other fan bases too. But no, this one is I think there was a time where obviously Jerry was revered. I think he still is in some cases, but yeah. I definitely think that the fan base realizes that they're not going to ever win until Jerry decides to loosen the reins, which might be a while.
It might be a while, and then when Jerry's loosening the reins, his son takes over, so that's all great. All right, last one.
Number 1.
I saw this and I was like, this is hilarious. The complaints about MetLife Stadium's field are unrelenting. The latest came from German soccer club, and I know I'm going to get crushed for this, Borussia Dortmund, after the team was eliminated by Real Madrid in the FIFA Club World Cup quarterfinals on Saturday. Manager Niko Kovac said after he lost 3-2, quote, it's more of a golf green, so you can putt here. It's very short, but this is not the grass we are used to playing on in the Bundesliga and also in the other 2 stadiums. As you saw, the watering wasn't good enough, I would say, because you don't have the devices for that. When it's too dry, it's unbelievable. It's sticking. So, Tony, you're up first. Is the grass condition a good excuse for a loss?
No. It's not, and who would have thought that maybe the grass settings in New York are a little bit different than the grass settings in Germany? You know what I'm just saying?
Yeah.
The climate is a little bit different, and so the grass is probably going to be a little bit different. Now, in terms of it not being watered enough, I wasn't there. I can't speak to that. Maybe there's a point there. I mean, how much research did he do? I mean, he said they didn't have the devices. Like, I don't know too many coaches who are like walking.
I think he's talking about the fact that MetLife Stadium is a turf field and not like a real grass field, so they had to bring in real grass.
But they knew that.
I know that.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, that was part of the deal when this was happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to go out and like complain about it and after you took a loss, now it'd be different. Maybe you won the game, you could come out and, like, if Real Madrid was doing this and won 3-2, it'd be like, all right,
maybe there's something to it because they're still in it.
This seems like sour grapes
It does. It does. I can imagine him just throwing his clipboard. We lost because of the grass. This is ridiculous. It's too short. I'm gonna go take my putter outside right now and go putt. I think another story off of this is that MetLife Stadium is cool to bring in grass for soccer, but they do not care about the NFL players that absolutely hate that stadium.
No, they can't do that. We got to keep this grass all year round and have to take care of it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
too much money.
Yeah, I'd rather just see a bunch of ACLs be torn.
Yeah,
on the
fix
field.
that. This club a lot cheaper than keeping up this field.
It is a lot cheaper. All right, that's it for the Big Five. When we get back, got 30 minutes to go. I'll set you up for Game 3 between the Padres and the Diamondbacks on 97.3 The Fan. Hey, it's Skraby here, and you know many things about daily life annoys me. I finally found an outlet for all that annoyance. It's called The Daily Gripe, and I do it during the Skraby Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger.
This is 97.3 The Fan. Thank you to everybody who has joined us today. I'm leading you up to Sammy Lev's Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:40 p.m. And we have a couple things we're going to do here in the next half hour. We're going to hear from Robert Suarez shortly. We're also going to talk about, in the next segment, we're going to talk about, I haven't been able to talk about anything random in a while. We're going to talk about the guy who started Fire Festivals. At it again, everybody. At it again. And you know, when I say Fire Festival, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's next segment. And then we're also going to meet our Padres director. Kyle is going to be on the air. And we'll meet him a little bit later, because I think it's fun to get to meet the people that are working on the station and pushing all the buttons. And so where I started was right over there in that chair. So there is personalities that sit in that chair. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking because I have no idea what I'm talking about. News today: DJ LeMahieu DFA'd by the Yankees. He was actually told he was going to go to the bench, and then they ended up DFAing him. Reports out of the Yankees say that he was unhappy with having to go to the bench, which is a very standard type operating thing for teams. When a player is unhappy and then they DFA them, then they go to the media and say, well, that player didn't like that we did what we did. So I think that it's definitely something that AJ Preller and co are going to look into. And I think that it's not such a bad idea to see what happens, because you have about, let's see, my math, 22 days or so until the trade deadline. So if you bring DJ LeMahieu in and you give him a couple weeks to see what he could do, I know a couple weeks is not really a lot of time, but he's a veteran. He can show up in San Diego and he'll be fine. He doesn't need to like prepare or anything like that. But if they get some good at bats out of him over the next 2-3 weeks, and this is all hypothetical because he's not with the team, but if they get some at bats with him, good at bats over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, maybe that helps out a little bit with what you need in the trade market. Maybe that means that you don't have to trade for a certain position, or instead of the 1 or 2 bats, you're only trading for one big bat. I mean, it does change stuff. If you could find someone that's out there that can come right in and contribute, I think that changes the strategy for the front office when the trade deadline comes down. So that's one option that the Padres have. And the other news item of the day would be just the game last night. The game last night. Oh, I'm sorry. I had it and then I forgot. ABS, the automated balls and strike system, is going to be in place for the All-Star game. And it's just for the All-Star game, but they're going to try it out. And, you know, I am fascinated to see how the strategy goes with the ABS system, because you only get 2 challenges. If you get your challenge right, you keep your challenge. If you get your challenge wrong, you lose your challenge. And only 3 players on the field can challenge: pitcher, catcher, batter. So I feel like some guys are going to get the go ahead to challenge whenever they want. But like, what if you challenge in the first inning and then you waste your challenge and say another one happens, and then you're out of challenges and there's a clear ball called a strike later in the game? Then you're just kind of having to wear it, and that's no fun. So that whole strategy of the ABS system next year is going to be awesome. It's going to be really, really fun to watch. Last night, Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. saved the game for the Padres. If not for them, that game probably ends 3-1. We'll just say Arraez hits the home run, 3-1 or 3-0, because Jackson Merrill robbed Corbin Carroll of a 2-run home run, and Fernando Tatis Jr. robbed Josh Naylor of a solo shot later in the game, and that would have tied up the game for the Padres, or for the Diamondbacks. So both of those guys doing big things last night. And one thing that I saw in my morning prep is a quote from Jackson Merrill that I think it's becoming more and more apparent to me that this team does one thing, and that is when things are going bad in a certain area of the game, They want to focus on how they can help the team. I think that's a great message. I think that's a great mindset to be in. And Jackson Merrill said after last night's game, quote, "I haven't been doing bleep with the bat. I have to do something with my glove. It's always like that. Whenever you can't produce on one side of the ball, how can you produce on the other side of the ball? Stay locked in always and don't give anything away." Last week, the catch against the Phillies was a little easier because the wall is smaller, but I've got some experience now. I kind of love those ones now. Last year, when I saw those, I'd sprint really hard and get to the ball as fast as possible. I'd get to the wall. I'd have to slow up and put my hands on the wall. Now it's just like, no matter what, get there, slow down, and get ready to jump. And when I was talking to Tony Gwynn Jr. about it a little bit earlier, he was, because Jackson also said he likes to watch Michael Harris of the Braves because Michael Harris is a great robber of home runs. And so he likes to watch different guys. And that, to me, tells just everything about Jackson Merrill. Tells me that he's a mature player and he's going to grow into a great major leaguer because he's not afraid to look outside the box. He's not afraid to look at his peers for help. And that is, even if that's just studying Michael Harris hitting home or robbing home runs, that's what he needs to do. So Jackson Merrill has been great in center field. He keeps getting better in center field. And I think that is what we expected, number one. And number two, I think that Jackson Merrill is just a supreme athlete. And if you're wondering how he was able to catch that ball, because he got up there, he's 6'3" and he's an athlete. So he could probably jump really high. And we saw it last night, and we've seen it a couple times this year. Happy Hour is brought to you by GL Pools, the swimming pool experts, trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. Baseball season is in full swing, and so is swim season. Call GL Pools and mention radio for a free month of pool service. All right, I already told everybody that yesterday, about 5 minutes before the show ended, the news came down that Robert Suarez was made an All-Star. And I missed that news, and I'm not going to miss it this time. And we have some audio of Robert Suarez being talking to the media today. And he was basically asked, how do you feel to be an All-Star? And so we're going to play both the Spanish and English versions of this. But here you go.
Robert, congratulations on being named to the 2025 All-Star team. What was your reaction when you heard the news?
¿Qué fue tu reacción? Bueno, primero felicitarte por estar nombrado para el All-Star Game. ¿Qué era tu reacción?
Sí, agradecido por la oportunidad y emocionado de poder participar nuevamente en el Juego de Estrella.
Yeah, just grateful for the opportunity and lucky and fortunate that I'll be able to participate in another All-Star Game.
What are you looking forward to from the experience?
¿Qué es lo que más te interesa en llegar a otro All-Star Game?
Disfrutar la experiencia. Ya disfruté el año pasado, ahora voy a disfrutar al máximo esta experiencia de este nuevo año.
Yeah, just to have fun as much as possible. I did that last year, and I'm really looking forward to doing that again this year.
What did you take away from the experience last year, getting to go and participate in the festivities?
¿Qué llevaste del año pasado que puedes atraer a este año de disfrutar todo el aspecto que es el All-Star Game?
Sí, agradecido de estar allí y de compartir con muchos jugadores, coaches y estar como ¿sabes? Un equipo de estrella. Eso da mucha emoción y me siento agradecido por eso.
Yeah, just to be able to be around all these coaches and players, these awesome players that are around the game, and just being able to, be in that moment and be with those guys, and really appreciative about those people being around.
Robert, after last night, you lead the major leagues in saves. How would you describe what you've done so far this season?
¿Cómo puedes describir lo que has hecho este año ya que estás al líder de todos los salvos de juego?
Sí, seguir trabajando, seguir preparándome y seguir trabajando para aprovechar las oportunidades que me toque en situación de salvamento o la situación que el equipo me necesite lanzar. Tengo que seguir preparando, que todavía falta mucha temporada.
I know I just have to keep preparing myself as best as I can for every outing, every situation that the team needs me for, and that's what I take out of these first couple games, or this first half, is just that I have to keep preparing myself for any situation that comes up.
All right, that is Robert Suarez. I'm sure Sammy Lev will be playing more of that a little bit later. Wanted to get you his thoughts on becoming an all-star. And one thing that's apparent to me is I know why Robert Suarez is a closer now, because he doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, and Robert Suarez going to the all-star game. And I think that's a huge honor for him, obviously. And I know that some people around here may say that he doesn't deserve it, but he definitely deserves it. Has he struggled here down the stretch a little bit? Maybe a little bit, but when it's all said and done, I think Robert Suarez is the closer of this team, and he's going to be the closer of this team. And you don't close 26 games and not be good at it. You have to be good at it. And he went 1-2-3 last night, but I get a little nervous because there's lots of full counts with Robert Suarez, and the full counts in last night's strike zone with the umpire, you never knew which way it was going to go, and it could have snowballed very easy, but it didn't snowball. Padres get the win 1-0, and they have an opportunity tonight to gain on the National League West. They have an opportunity because the Dodgers lost to the Brewers in 10 innings. The Brewers walked it off, and that makes 6 straight losses for the Dodgers. They have been swept in back-to-back series, one of those sweeps in their hometown of LA. So I don't like using this word, but this is what came to my mind. They're scuffling right now, and you got to take advantage of that. The other team that lost that's above you in the standings, or at least right next to you in the standings, is the San Francisco Giants, and they got crushed today by the Phillies 13-0. So both top teams lost. This is a major opportunity for the Padres, and we've been talking about it. They have to take all the games that they can before the All-Star break, and with all of these teams that are ahead of them, you can't waste these opportunities at this stage in the year. I know you still got about 70 games left or something, but those games are going to start going quick and they're going to dwindle. So you have to do it now. And I have a good feeling that the Padres know what happened today with the Dodgers and the Giants, and they know what's at stake for tonight. So I am looking forward to this game. Dylan Cease pitching for the Padres, Brandon Pfaadt pitching for the Diamondbacks. Brandon Pfaadt's been pretty good, and he's been pretty good against the Padres. So we'll see which version of Brandon Pfaadt we get tonight, and we'll see what version of Dylan Cease we get tonight. Tony and I talked about it earlier. He's got to figure out that second time through the lineup. First time through the lineup, he's good. Second time through the lineup, he's bad. Third time through the lineup, he's even better than the first time through the lineup. So it doesn't make any sense to me or Tony, but we got to see if he can fix that. And I have a feeling that the pitching whisperer has a few tricks up his sleeve. So let's see what happens with Dylan Cease tonight. All right, let's go to break. On the other side, I told you I was going to talk about a fire festival story, and it's kind of crazy. And we'll get into some other stuff. We'll meet our Padres director, Kyle, and then we will hand you off to Sammy Lev at 5:40 for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show right here at 97.3 The Fan. All right, back here, Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan, Matt Skraby with you, Gwynn and Chris. Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park. Chris Ello on vacation until Monday, so you'll have to wait to hear his silky smooth pipes until Monday to get back. If you want me to do an Ello voice, I can. Hey, everyone, it's Ello. How are you doing today? It's much different when Tony isn't here because Tony thinks it's hilarious and it keeps me going, but I really sometimes say things into the microphone and have no idea how it hits out there. Anyway, Sammy Leff coming up at 5:40 with your Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show. He's going to have Mike Shildt audio. I'm sure he'll have some Robert Suarez audio, and, Sammy will do his thing. Before we get into the Fire Festival thing, I want to bring up the Rafael Devers, Will Clark, Will Fleming thing. And so to quickly catch you up, yesterday, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, Will Fleming, who is a Red Sox broadcaster, went on a podcast or a radio show and said that Rafael Devers no-showed Will Clark 3 times. And he said he was there on Saturday and that he just didn't come out. Well, Will Clark had a response to that, or actually explained the situation, which does make sense. And it was Rafael Devers just got traded to the Giants, and the next series was the Red Sox. And so the visiting dugout is right across from first base. And so Will Clark kind of describes it as, he didn't want to go to do first base and be 20 feet away from the team that just traded him and the team that kind of threw him under the bus a little bit. So I kind of understand that a little bit. Will Fleming today is feeling the heat of his out of context contribution to this whole thing, and he tweeted out, "Since the whole of SF seems mad at me, I just want to clarify again. I was repeating a story that one of the great Giants told on his own pod. I'm not trying to push a narrative or opine about the trade. No one has any ill will towards Rafi. It was just time for a change here." Here's what I gotta say about that. I don't know Will Fleming, but this is a hit piece. This is a clickbait thing. He knew that when he got his hands on this juicy angle, he knew that his fans back in Boston were going to love this, and they were going to just click, 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 click. Now it's all good to say I'm not trying to push a narrative, but you didn't tell the full story. You didn't tell the part of the story where Will Clark says maybe Rafael Devers didn't want to do it in front of the Boston Red Sox dugout. That's a huge part of the story, and you just left it out. And so if you're going to do that, that tells me that you are fixing the story to make it more salacious for your audience. And I am not a fan of this. I hope I like to at least, present every single part of the story because I don't want to be one-sided. But this seems extremely one-sided, and it seems a little petty, in my opinion. Will Clark also said that, or not Will Clark, but I saw a tweet of Rafael Devers actually taking grounders at first base while the Red Sox were there. So he was out at first base at some point. But I'm a little tired of this whole Rafael Devers thing because he's been traded, he's gone, but it just seems like the Red Sox media, because I was looking at some of the comments on the tweet from the actual posting of the podcast, and it's like, get over this. Can we move on now? Rafi's gone type of thing. So if this was a clickbait endeavor, then I do think that it worked. But if you want to be known as a clickbait guy, then you'll be known as a clickbait guy. And I'm not sure that Will Fleming wants to be known as a clickbait guy. I think he's going to keep getting pushed back. And I think that he's probably at this point like, can I please just have this story die? But the answer is no. No, you cannot, because you brought it up. And Will Clark brought it up too, but Will Clark told the story a little bit better. I just don't like the personal attacks that Red Sox fans and front office are delivering towards Rafael Devers. Now, I'm not saying Rafael Devers is in the clear. I'm not saying that he didn't have a bad ending with the Boston Red Sox, but I just think you have to present everything. And he hasn't said anything about this to my knowledge. So that would be kind of an awkward question for a reporter to ask. What do you think of what they said? Like, maybe they're not. Reporters will have to ask that question, but I haven't seen anything yet from Rafael Devers. So maybe tomorrow, if we get something tonight, we will talk about it, because the Giants lost and they had a day game, so they didn't have media availability before the game. All right, real quick, before we go any further, I talked about Firefest months ago because the founder of Firefest, Billy McFarland, he got out of jail after the first Firefest disaster. And so if you don't know what Firefest is, FYRE, there's a couple documentaries out there that are really good, but he claimed to all these people he was going to have this big music festival. It was going to be down, I think, in the Bahamas or one of those tropical locations. And he was going to have an island. He was going to have cabanas, bungalows. He was going to have all these great things for everyone who paid an exorbitant amount of money. And he was going to deliver one of the best experiences they've ever had. Well, when people got there, they realized real quick, this is not going to be the best experience I've ever had. It was FEMA tents, literally like leftover FEMA tents that were put up as the bungalows. And also they had the sandwiches were like just 2 slices of white bread, some maybe mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato. So it wasn't what they thought. There was not, it wasn't great. It seemed like a big old scam, and it ended up being kind of a big old scam. But recently he said, Billy McFarland, I'm going to relaunch the Fire Festival. That's what I want to do. So everybody, it's going to happen. Just keep on waiting for it. And we kept on waiting for it, but nothing happened. And now Billy McFarland is trying to sell off the Firefest brand's intellectual property in a 7-figure deal, but he claims that the 7-figure deal fell through. So now he says, hey, here's his quote. We had a 7-figure deal for the complete Fire brand and IP package that fell through this morning. But now the opportunity to own the Fire brand is back on the table. I don't think anybody really wants the Fire brand. It's not really that great. But in the end, what I'm getting at here is that this guy does not get it. He does not get it. Who believes that someone is going to pay over $1 million for this brand? This brand is more of a novelty than anything. I don't even know what the brand is. They haven't actually delivered anything yet. They're just, it's the only thing that they've delivered is a really terrible experience a couple or years and years ago. And he ended up going to jail for it because he messed around with a lot of people's money, and he found out what happened when he messed around with a lot of people's money. But it's just like, here's another thing that I think is insane. So there's the Fire Hotels experience is out there. And so McFarland's idea for the hotel experience is rooted in the same 2013 incident that inspired him to create the Fire Festival. Never heard the story about him before, but apparently he says it's true. Quote, a software engineer and hobbyist pilot challenged Billy to leave NYC and to try and fly a small plane from New York City to a remote Caribbean island, which sounds legit. Like, let's just put a guy who has no idea how to fly a plane in a plane to fly to a Caribbean island. Along the way, Billy overshot, ran out of gas, and was saved by a landing strip on a remote island. The magic of the island created a legend that quickly spread back home. So this guy, I think he's just a compulsive liar is what he is. I kind of feel bad for him at this point. But if you get anything in the mail saying, hey, you could buy the Fire brand, do not invest in the Fire brand, everybody. Do not invest in the Fire brand. All right, we are going to bring on Kyle. There he is. He's on the screen now. Kyle Ovenshire is one of our Padres directors. And if you say, what's a director? He's the one who's running the show. He's the one who's pushing the buttons. He's the one who's doing the legal. He's the one who's doing the highlights, all that stuff behind the scenes. And so I thought it would be nice to get Kyle on here for a second. Kyle, how has working for Padres Radio been for you so far?
It's been pretty awesome, to be honest. I'm an avid sports fan. I was an avid listener before working here. So to be in this spot now feels pretty special, to be honest.
So how did you get to that spot? Because a lot of people ask me, how do I get involved in radio? And my answer is try to get into something like Padres radio.
Right. Honestly, it just starts at the beginning. You just want to find your passion. For me, it's sports and media, and radio kind of fits the bill for both those things. I just got lucky enough to see the job opening and apply.
Yeah, and you're definitely a Padres fan. So is it harder working here as a Padres fan and working for Padres radio?
I wouldn't say it's harder. I would say it's just the same. The scenery changes, like
that's true.
From the car or from the couch to the board. We listen to the game and we watch the game at the same time. So it's a lot of hooting and hollering. For sure.
What's funny about, it's not funny, I guess, but in here in the studio, we get the real true time call. And so for maybe a half a second, this studio knows what happened before anybody else, except for if you're at the stadium. But what has it been like to work with the great Dave Marcus?
Working with everyone here is kind of surreal, as I mentioned.
Tell me why.
Just being an avid listener, meeting you and meeting the other guys, except for Ben and Woods yet. But
okay. We'll make that happen.
We'll make it happen. But yeah, other than that, it's been awesome. It's been surreal just to meet all of you and be in this place, as I mentioned, just being an avid listener, and, hearing these voices in the car versus, having personal interaction is pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember when I started radio, I was telling Kyle, because this is your first time ever on the air.
Yep.
You're doing a great job. You're doing an absolutely great job. But I was telling Kyle the first time I was ever on the air, he has a much easier task because I went and had to, for a morning show across, another morning show years and years and years ago, like 9 years ago, I had to go buy feminine hygiene products as like a bit. So that was a much harder thing for me to talk about. But I know we're coming up at the end here. What is your goal? What are your goals for working here? What are your goals for 10 years from now? What do you want to do with your life?
It's a great question. Honestly, anything that is doing with sports and media, sitting here is great. I want to be on the TV side of things. So maybe one day I'll be a part of Padres TV. Who knows? ESPN. We'll see. But yeah, it's been a pleasure.
All right. Well, thank you, Kyle. And it's Kyle Ovenshire.
That is correct.
It's not Ovenshire. I hope Dave Marcus is listening right now. It's Kyle Ovenshire, but a born and bred San Diegan here running these games. So thank you very much, Kyle, for being here. And you've done a great job. You've done a great job. I don't say that every day, but you have.
Appreciate it.
All right. That is it for me. Up next, our guy, Sammy Lev, is going to be taking over for the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan. Well, let's go, Padres. Hopefully they get a win tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
What's up, everybody? Tony Gwynn Jr. here. SDCCU Stuff the Bus is back again.